Hello, hello. Hey, Galaxy Inferno. Happy Monday morning. Adam's internet may go out today, and if it does, he won't come back until tomorrow. His ISP is doing maintenance sometime today. All right. Hey, Flair. How goes it? How are your weekends? Whoops, that didn't work. Oh, give me a sec. Let me fix that. I just wanted the asterisks to show up. Okay, there we go. Whew, yeah, so I just mentioned this, but I got a notification from my ISP saying sometime between, they basically said the next 24 hours. Sometime in the next 24 hours, we're going to take your internet offline for 45 minutes or up to 45 minutes. 45 minutes is long enough where I'm not going to be like, okay, let me wait around and then start the stream again. So if it goes offline now, for example, I'm not going to come back to the stream because I don't want to have to keep monitoring that. It also ruins the momentum that I have. So hopefully it doesn't happen until after both streams would have been naturally done anyway. Hey, Zaletics. Working on the game, so that's all that matters. Oh, I see. As far as how your weekend went, I feel there's more to it than that if you answered with a hard question. But I do hope it's going well. I was just in Windy's stream and I asked him something like, how do you feel about your game dev stamina? And like, how has it changed over the years? You know, we both started streaming a long time ago, and it's been a while. I think it's probably been close to a decade for him. And it's been actually more than a decade now for me that we've been streaming this stuff. And he actually answered with something like, I'm not worried about my stamina, I'm worried about the industry. Doesn't really matter how quickly I can go if the industry is all converging on like one company owning all games and indie developers not getting any visibility, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, he also said, the reason I brought this up was not to be a downer. It was that he also mentioned that when he got started with game dev, he just really wanted to give it an honest shot. So that mentality you have about, I'm working on the game, so that's all that matters. I think we're in a bit of a weird time with games. You know, if you were working on a game in the 90s, you probably thought, man, the industry's only growing and things will only get better. But also tech was growing pretty quickly too, and it meant that you couldn't just keep making the same, you know, NES games the whole time. The generations of console kept getting better and better. And I think that on its own probably was responsible for snuffing out some studios. Imagine if you have some really skilled set of people working in the Super Nintendo era. They're doing like amazing 2D sprites. They've got gameplay down. They understand the hardware, the limitations. And then the N64 comes out. And now it's the Wild West. And it's 3D games. And people don't really know the paradigms of 3D all that well or how you should control it. And let's say even if you get that down, now you get to more resources on your machine, higher fidelity 3D models. And all of a sudden now the people who were like kind of cutting it in the N64 era, maybe they're like, well, we just can't do this anymore. Yeah, anyway, it's kind of crazy to think about. And the other thing too is it doesn't feel like history as you're living it. And I'm not talking about anything too significant here, just kind of gaming. Like this era of gaming will be remembered for something. And who knows what exactly it'll be yet, because it's got to be remarkably different from whatever happens in the future for us to want to remember it. Hard to keep motivation after going for 3 years. Yeah, I generally agree. It's been almost 2 years for Skeleseller. And I was just talking to someone yesterday about this. And I said, at the beginning, if you know your project will take 2 years, I got to fix the, hang on a second, let me write this down, because otherwise I'm not going to remember to do this. Let's write this here, clean keyboard. Lots of double typing. If you know your project will take 2 years, then releasing at maybe like 1 month in, it kind of feels like, hey, here's my general vision. Don't judge it too harshly. We're still, whatever it is, 23 months away from being complete. So it was kind of exciting to do that, and I felt energized by it. And now we're about 1.5 years in, and I've been doing these playtest releases. There's a different feeling to it now, which is like, do we have a lot of wiggle room? Every piece of feedback people give that might lead to an improvement means that it's going to take time. Like I'm probably going to spend the next 2 weeks just working on bone mode, and it'd be nice to move on. And then it'd be nice to come back to this, but like I need more play testers to try this out, and there will be a trickle of them coming in the next month or two. So it'd be nice to throw this mode at them and be like, okay, has it gotten better? What's your feedback now? Anyway, it is challenging. And the other thing too is I don't know, like let's say this we're not Skeleseller anymore. Let's say Skeleseller, it launched and made, $10 million. And now I'm on game number, well, I guess 3 that I've been streaming. And I'm working on it, and it's been a year. Will I feel any different? Will I be like, well, look, this game made a ton of money, so I'm just kind of coasting with this game? I don't think so. I think I add the stress to myself to some extent. Anyway, I think I think my takeaway is I need to calm my mind, and I think I need to like carve out some meditation time during the day. Those aren't really any of the things I'm generally worried about, and will be remembered for loot boxes. Loot boxes and whales, the whale era. Yeah, I suspect maybe what you're talking about is that you're worried about something more immediate or something about your specific game, not the industry. And any such thing is probably a valid thought at this point. Anyway, sustainability. So let me think about this. I think releasing is just tough. I launched on Friday, but felt really tired. I've been tired in general, actually. And I don't know how much has to do with work. I almost attribute it to a sickness that had no like cold symptoms. Anyway, I still feel energized for this week, and I'll be taking a proper break in a couple of weeks. So I don't think there's anything alarming yet. All right, bricklaying. Yeah, we're still always focusing on the most important thing. And I'm finding a way to make it through those tasks. Today will actually be an interesting challenge in that regard, because I don't totally know what's most important yet. Not wasting the opportunity. Am I doing everything I can to make Skeleseller successful? I wonder how you measure this. Yeah. I still think the biggest thing has been playtesting, and I've been prioritizing that. I did a session with a friend of mine yesterday. He played the demo, and that was about maybe 1.5 hours. And then he did the playtest, and that was maybe another hour. And I think the general takeaway is that, or takeaways, there are really only 2 because I'm going to keep it general, is that things are working, and we need a little bit more in terms of tips or guidance. And that's kind of it. I don't think there's anything major here. There are some other little things that I thought of. Like, we call them battle perks right now, but people are looking for, how do I level up my adventurer? So we should probably just call them level up perks. And there, now that confusion would be removed. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that. But that's a pretty minor change. It's not like that's going to take me a long time. Didn't have any vision for this game when I started. Didn't have any ideas. Just needed to make something. That something changed over time. I'm definitely a very different person with different priorities than when I started. Curious who I'll be by the time the game is done. Yeah, there are lots of times, maybe like 2 decades ago at this point, where I was just like, I want to code something. And it was the coding part of it that I was more focused on. Like, I just want to start coding. I didn't want to plan. I didn't want to think about things. I just wanted to be working in a direction, which is weird to think about now, because I think, how do they know what direction to go in or anything? So I know you said you didn't have any ideas. I wonder if it started similarly, like, I want to make a game. I don't know what game yet. We'll figure it out as we go. And I like hearing about those journeys and seeing them. I think the issue is when it comes to productizing something. You can work on whatever you want and have fun doing it and learn a bunch of things and make connections, but that doesn't mean you're working on a product. And I'm not saying this about your specific game. I'm just talking in general here. When it comes to productizing something, you sort of need to take out some of the meandering and some of the fun of it and start thinking about, yeah, who's going to buy this? How do we reach them? How do we make sure that their needs are being met? Fix wording on a perk. All right, anyway, tenants have been done, so let's mark that done. consider launching a new demo version at that point. Trying to make the game not be a product, so no worries, you can talk about me. No. I don't have the context to be able to talk about it, neither in terms of your wants until just now, this message, and also how it's going. So I wouldn't be able to. But the thing about it not being a product, I think there are kind of two ways it could be taken. One is it won't ever be for sale. And two is it'll be a game first, not a business. I think this would probably be a mistake if you spent like 3 years working on something. So I don't think you probably mean this. I think you mean this, number two. And I don't think that's a mistake. I just think it's harder to sort of stumble into success that way. Well, monetary success. Sorry, I shouldn't be conflating success with money. It's too, yeah. I was gonna say, I'd be very surprised if you were just like, yeah, I'll work for several years and try to polish this thing, and you've been setting deadlines for yourself and everything, and then you're like, I don't need to launch it though. All right, Idler Fest in 2026. I believe that's February, so I can technically do this kind of whenever, but I should have this in the more immediate backlog so I can sign up for it. I don't want to miss this. You know what? I'm gonna. I don't know where to put this so that I won't forget it. Let me do this. Engage privacy mode. Okay. Let me do something really fast. I'm going to just file this into my personal to-do list. Hang on a second. Sorry, this is not cooperating. There. Okay, anything else that's here? This one needs to be there. All right, let me show this again. Anything that's not related to this. Yeah, this one. Okay. So battles shouldn't be allowed to have more fish in them. Idea your main skeleton has a chance to do something. Yeah, this is a nice backlog item. So I like this idea of your main skeleton has a chance to do something, like has double the employee discount chance. So you can get it up to a half of the time it's just buying an item that it picks up. I don't know how interesting that would be. It's just one worker who'd be doing this. I wonder if even just tripling the chance is worthwhile. I guess I'll write it down as an idea. Might as well. Oh, also, I got to follow up with the playtesters. Follow up with playtesters. I didn't see any responses. There were, I think, 4 people I reached out to, and normally I would have heard back from like one of them with a video, but none of them actually got back to me. And I get to Twisted Grove 3. I'll maybe try to make it a product. I think for me, the most important thing with this game was that I made some impact on the world, and I did that. People played it and liked it. And I just want to release a thing people will say is cool. Need something in my life that's the exact opposite of a soul-crushing day job. Yeah. Yeah, you know, one of the things I've read online, a lot of people, every once in a while, I'll go to the Twitch subreddit. And I would say over the years, the sort of biggest thing that people talk about there is like, why won't Twitch do more for small streamers? I don't want to go on a tangent here, so I'll just say that one of the things that people mention in those threads is like, if you have, let's say, 10 viewers, imagine they're all in the same room as you. That's a pretty crowded room, depending on what kind of room you're in. If it's an auditorium, it's pretty empty. But if it's like a normal room in an apartment or a house or something, it's like, wow, having 11 people there it's kind of a lot. And when you think about it that way, it's like, yeah, you can make an impact on people, and it doesn't need to be in the millions or something. It's like those people are taking time out of their day to consume something it is that you made. All right, I wonder if we have more things that give gold. So I think we need to consider synergies more with this. This is all done, right? I'm on main. Yeah, this is all done. All right, I wanna eventually organize all of this. This isn't even a meta progression. This is gonna be like over here. I think we need more perks to introduce synergies, redundancies, and ways to break the game. Codex said that it feels like the economy route is the only way to go. Can we break that mold somehow? Yeah, Russell. Official 17th month of subbing? No, wait, what? What are you talking about? 17 viewer on stream. I see. Let me make a redeem for that. Hope you're doing well, Oppressal. Social media platforms, subreddits are a weird place anyways. According to the Instagram complainers, it's been impossible to grow there for years now, despite many people growing just fine. Yeah, I think, this is something kind of interesting. I read an essay about this a while ago, which is how subreddits become echo chambers. It might not have started that way, but a lot of people, I forgot, what was it? I don't remember the example they used, but let's say it was something like, I don't know, support through a difficult time. People are going to go there because they have a difficult time and they're going to try to get support. And the people who are successful are going to leave because they're no longer in that difficult time. So the people who are not successful are going to be the people who are going through an especially difficult time and maybe sort of bring the tone of the subreddit sort of to a narrower focus. So now it's more and more of those people accumulating over the years. And now because they're not getting support and they've probably given up on it, they just start kind of complaining. So now it becomes a complaint subreddit. And the people who actually wanted to meet their original need can't go there anymore. And it's probably similar with, I don't know if it's like /r/Instagram or something like that, but probably something similar to that, where it's like, hey, if you're a Twitch streamer and you wanted to complain about a small streamer or being a small streamer, and then you eventually are no longer a small streamer, you're probably going to stop going to that subreddit. You're going to be like, well, I don't have the problem anymore. Doing good, about to go exercise. I was going to say, if you're here, you're about to exercise. I think about the best things I've done in my life. It was all running D&D for my friends, running the Spire quiz, spending time with partners and friends. Kind of hard for me to process after having the mentality of chasing some greatness in my life. Yeah, and I don't think social media or sort of society in general is helping with improving your mentality in this front. I think a lot of people are focused on how do I reach more people? How do I stand out? And I think when social media was starting, a lot of people talked about virality of posts. And I saw something kind of interesting recently, which said that, there's probably always still the same general chance that a post goes viral, but now there's like 100 times more posts or 1,000 times more posts or something than, pick a time frame. So it's less likely that a post that you're involved in will go viral compared to everyone else's. And if you're focusing on that, then it's going to bring you down. Eventually lose track of reality. Okay, so I'll tell you something impressive that I started to say the last time, but I didn't actually get to finish, and I think you'll get a kick out of this. So life in Hindi is John, and it's sort of a term of endearment. So my wife actually does call me this from time to time, and to English speakers, it sounds like just John, the name. So it's actually kind of funny that you say that. Hey, Wendy. There's no way. No, I'm being serious. I'm 100% serious. That is not a joke. I've got you your block of cheese on a stick right here, Corpsey. Wendy, thank you very much. I was just talking about the topic that I brought up in your chat that then you commented on, the thing about stamina for game dev and how the industry's going. And unfortunately, I mean, I just kind of wrapped up that topic, but it was interesting to talk about. I really hope you don't have to bail out of game dev. Hey, Magnetic Bind. I know things about your life that you barely know yourself. Not fair to say barely know. But yeah, now you've got a little piece of knowledge too. Hope so too. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, don't forget, yeah, I am up for helping you with Git at some point. I also am just razzing you about it. If you don't want help, if you don't want the follow-up, that's totally fine too. All right, so I'll write down more perk ideas. More perks, ideas. Could be a fun perk. Could be fun perk unlocks for that in the future. Oh, we could add upgrades to perks as unlockables just by completing challenges. E.g. impulse buying has infinite range. Hey, Bakari Dev. I want to help. I just have a memory like a sieve. Okay, that's totally fine. Yeah. Yeah, and I can write a note to follow up maybe tomorrow. Afternoon. Follow up with Windy if I haven't heard from him. Morning journal. Hey, Meridio. How do indeed. Took me like 5 years to understand Git. Now I look back on it, I don't understand what's so hard. Seems so simple. I think there are a lot of things that seem impenetrable at first. I still remember the first time I loaded up Fruity Loop Studio and I'm like, what am I looking at? Like, what is this? What do I do? How do I make music? And I just slowly started picking away at some of the things here to learn what it is that I was doing. And yeah, now it doesn't seem so bad. It's easier to build on some foundation of knowledge than it is to start from scratch. And I mean, it's not like you have zero knowledge going into any program, but you know, zero knowledge about this kind of program at least. All right, so delete that. It might be cool to have something like put an item on the stand. Oh, this is kind of an interesting idea regarding armor collecting. We could do something like, we could make something like a special item stand, and whatever is on that stand will be auto sold every X seconds from your shops. Could have a chance to affect the warehouse too. I like the idea at least. Quit for 6 months before actually starting to learn. Yeah, and it's kind of sad, right? Because there are a lot of programs that are like that. I feel like Blender's like that. I feel like probably a lot of DAWs are like that. Maybe a lot of just sort of art programs. It's like you've got all these brushes and tools, and in real life you probably start with a pencil or a paintbrush or whatever. And then you're like, what do I do? How do I do this? What's the general technique or paradigm for doing this thing? I also like this idea. Okay, I've gotten a lot of those written down. I gotta fix these bugs. What are these bugs? No clue what's going on. And I spent at least 1,000 hours on the program. Man, this is why I think taking notes is really important too. Like if I ever go back to some programs, I'll at least be able to read what I thought was important. So when you first buy the farm, the extractor's turned on, but the green light is not on. Let me take a look at this. These are good bugs to find. All right, I'm gonna try it in regular mode, even though that's not what the report was, just to see if it happens there. Oh, it can't happen here because we don't have the extractor training. Oh, wait a second. It does happen here too. Oh. Or no, it's the opposite here? No, it's the same there too. Interesting. Okay, well this is not a super important bug, but when you, in both story mode and bone mode, when you get the extractor lever, the green light on the extractor is not turned on. Hey Goose. Happy Monday. At some point in those programs, becomes a question of if learning another technique or plugin is actually worth it. Yeah, that's always a thing. Like you've got a workflow that works. And actually I get asked this on a pretty regular basis. Like, why don't you use Vim, or why don't you use Vim shortcuts? And it's like, look, at this point, I feel like I'm efficient enough. I don't really feel like I need to change anything. Up to 60 words for in on a corn. Congrats. We should have had a corn race or something between all the people who just bought a corn. So this is definitely a problem here, and it is probably an issue over here. I didn't even notice this. Yeah. All right, so let me go back to wherever that Discord thing was. This is a really good catch. I'll add it to the backlog. Yeah, I'm also going to give Matt a point. Let me just make sure I'm getting the underscores in his name right. Yeah, there we go. Gift is Matt. Okay. And then what else do we have here? When you hover the on-off switch for the extractor, tooltip shows what you would expect. When you move from that to that, yes. So I know about this bug because the same thing has happened. Oh, interesting. It goes in one direction, but not in the other direction. Oh yeah, thank you, Wendy. Take care. Thank you for the raid. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Was there a group buy for it, or did people randomly buy it and inform you? Yeah, it was just randomly purchasing it. I think a few people got a corn. Interesting that it's only in one direction. I think we had this same problem with spell books. Like if I search for tooltip, we'll probably find this somewhere. Well, apparently I have the tooltip, the word tooltip written a bunch of times. Yeah, here it is. Hovering over the enchanter sign to get a new spell crystal will show the tooltip for spells. However, the crystal immediately thereafter, it hides the tooltip. This same general problem happens if you hover over, what is it? The extractor lever, and then the extractor, but not the other way around. Hey Cyprian, welcome back. Use a Chocopie. Does that one have 2 thumb keys? I don't recall. No, yeah, it's practically the same. Yeah. All right, take care, Presley. Have a good workout. First, I heard due to just not being used to it. Yeah, and that's a little spooky, right? Like, oh, I want this to address my hand strain, not increase it. But yeah, any new thing you're going to do probably increases it for a bit. Good new week, everyone. Hello, Freak Technic. Good new week to you, too. All right, so both these bugs are now tracked. We're going to have to read through all of this as well. So yeah, I think today is going to be all over the place. And I apologize to anyone who wants continuity out of their streams. But I think we're just going to keep bouncing around. So let's see here. Tons of overflow seeds and overflow eggs. I think enchanter mode is probably nuts. Okay, so before my bone mode feedback, just want to say you've done an amazing job of listening and incorporating feedback for this mode. By the way, when I read this originally, so I glanced over everything. I was like, uh-oh, Dialectic's going to like rip the game apart. And it's like, hey, let me build Adam up a little bit. And then say, this sucks, I hate it. Amount of work you put in to make this mode what it is today is nothing short of incredible. So many systems have been completely rebuilt, or built, redesigned, scrapped. Now to the feedback. Overall, I played all the built scenarios and I had fun. New perks, spell, and smaller combined changes have made the mode feel a lot more fun and relaxed. Being able to break the game with new perks feels really good. The rate of getting meta perk points feels about right. Some further balancing might be needed on the existing scenarios. Overall, I consider this a win. Actually got to the point where I hit the last scenarios and disappointed there wasn't more to play. Leads me to specific suggestions. More game-breaking perks. These new things are fun. I think it's a highlight of the mode. Yeah, so I have this written down here. Ways to break the game, synergies, redundancies. I'll retract my thoughts about metals after these changes. I think they're fine now. I'll just copy paste this into the scratch pad that we had about this for metals. I'm glad we didn't fully remove them. Update. Xyletics said this on Discord. I might as well link to the specific message. Copy message link. There we go. It was all a lie. I hate everything. When I switched to my current wrist rest, it took like a month for them to not hurt. Yeah, I didn't realize it'd be the same even with wrist rest. Hey, Phil. It was fun. 1/10. Yep. I think the current scenarios are great. Gives people the experience of the mode without rushing them into difficulty. By the last scenario, they should have a good understanding. Which then got me thinking it should recycle the scenarios, but add some heavier, decent constraints and label it hard mode. So farming hard mode. Yeah, so I was thinking about this too, and I was thinking about this actually back when we were designing it, that there are 10 scenarios that are different, and then 10 scenarios that are the same but harder. Well, the same as the first 10. But I kind of wonder, so if you think about any kind of game with progression, you have some chart of time and power. And if you think about it in Slay the Spire, it basically works like this. Each ascension level makes you lower in power until it's harder and harder to win. If you think about Vampire Survivors, it's probably like this. Each level you beat lets you get some meta progression. I guess then the levels also become more challenging. So maybe it's like you're kind of growing and then hitting a wall a bit, growing, and then maybe actually going down a bit and then growing. And anyway, it's probably something like that. And then if you think about Skeleseller, right now it's like this. And if we were to make you hit, like, let's say this is your first 10 challenges, afterward we'd be saying that it's actually probably going to go like this, maybe, or maybe even like there'd be a gap here where it drops down and then you go upward a bit more. Anyway, my whole point is, if we do this where you hit challenge 10 and then all of a sudden it's difficult, I think this is going to feel especially bad. So I'm not positive about this. Hey, Soli. Good morning. But I do have this written down somewhere. So I should probably just put this back as a thing to consider. God, there's so much stuff here. Figure out if we do want like 10 more scenarios that are just hard mode copies of the first 10. I'll say this, at a high level, if we didn't have them, then the game would just end. Thus, having them is a cheap way to at least give some more playtime, even if it results in a drop in power. I think having more unlockable perks could offset this by still adding cool new things to the game. Oh, that's more content. So I guess basically what I'm getting at is, at a high level, we could add these in. We could even say it's there for V1 and just not put a lot of effort into it. And then for like a V1.1, add more content to make it fit a little bit better. Can you not unlock the hard mode version of a scenario after beating the normal mode version of it? Maybe that's what Zylex is saying. Let me see. I think it was after beating all of them so that you understood kind of how the mode worked. I also, just from a game design perspective, I think it makes sense to give you hard mode only after you've beaten all the normal mode ones. So you don't feel like, okay, I beat normal mode, now let me immediately jump to hard mode, and now we need to balance for you being able to beat it at first, as opposed to like, well, now you're gonna have a bunch of meta perks later. If the power drop is opt-in and obvious, I think it's fine. Yeah, that's a good point. I'll write that down. Because yeah, I agree with that. And it would be opt-in, and it should hopefully be obvious by being called hard mode. So yeah, I think we can consider that. And I guess I'll write conclusion as of this. I'm leaning toward doing this for V1, but I think it's best served by having many extra perks to keep it interesting, which I don't think is necessary for V1. Something like that. Okay, anyway, so I processed all this athletic stuff. I think this is all good feedback, and I'm glad that in general people are finding it fun. As mentioned, I watched a real life friend play on Sunday. He played the demo, then he played the playtest version. And for the demo, I think honestly, the biggest thing that bit him was there was a tip that said build the town hall, and he read every other tip, but this one he did not read and dismissed it immediately. And then he didn't build the town hall. He didn't even find the buildings menu for a while. And then when I think I had to nudge him toward like, hey, I think you should do this. He didn't have auto battle. He didn't have the garbage slime. He just didn't look at those things for some reason. And then when he got them, he got 3 buildings all at once. And then he felt overwhelmed. So I think we need something that's going to remind people, because no story mode run should probably go without the town hall. And it almost makes me wonder, like, I don't know, if people came up with their own special challenges, would I be bothering them by showing a tip all the time? And yeah, I probably would be. But I guess if they do that, we probably just have a setting that says, like, I know what I'm doing. Don't ever show me tips. and just disable them that way. Or maybe some like save file alteration. So I think let's work toward the majority of people there. Anyway, I have not processed all those notes, so I'm not going to write those as to-do items yet, but I do want to look through the rest of this. This felt super good. First run, no perks. Feels more fun overall. This is farming scenario 1. This brings me to another point that I want to eventually do. So this is written down. I guess other things I'll just add to this list. I want to show which scenario number you're on right in the objective details. Even if it's just phone mode number 1 and hovering it says which scenario, or whoops, that's supposed to be 1, which scenario you're on, to explain the number 1 part. I can figure out exactly how to do that, but yeah. I feel like you get stronger, make good progress, less stressful, not a lot of idle time. Progression feels good. Now, one question I have, do you want the treasure room to feel necessary? Because I haven't used it at all. I'm not sure I would ever want to build it, honestly, but I'll give it a try in some of the scenarios to see. It's just hard to justify the value of the treasure room when not only do you have to buy it, you have to buy the chest, and they have long cooldowns that you can shorten with weapons. But all those resources don't make a meaningfully big impact. Yeah, I think we got to write this down. Figure out how to make the treasure room more appealing. One of the problems I noticed with it a while ago is that you either have infinite keys or practically no keys. Changing the cost of a key would probably help with that. You probably need more perks for treasure. Alternatively, maybe we could just make it so that treasure chests are a reward for other things so that you don't ever have to buy them. I don't know. We basically need to rethink this. And I'll copy this message. Context, Matt. And what day was this? 10/3. First time with no meta perks. It was pretty fun. Some notes. I think bone mode could have some explanation on the main page. Like, what's the purpose here? Ooh, I'll need to ask about this because we do have this explanation. And the purpose is like we're testing your business acumen. I think we could have maybe like a, I don't know if I want to do a cutscene, but in my mind, the thought process behind this was like, okay, you've set up a successful town. Now, for the sake of capitalism, can we just make more towns? So we're going to randomize some stuff and see how you do. Still really don't like getting perks for things you don't own, especially adventures. Maybe get locked from going past X level with an adventure unless you leveled another adventure at the same level. I just still don't think this is a problem. And even in these stats, they got 8 out of 10 adventurers. 8 out of 10 is the minimum you need so that any battle perk you're offered will include a choice for an adventurer you have. Up until that point, you're not guaranteed because you're presented with 3 choices at a time. So there can be at most 2 adventurers you don't have. And like in my mind, that's kind of how the game's supposed to go. You're supposed to get to that many adventurers. So I'm not sure about this, but I did kind of wonder, should the tutorial only offer you perks for things that you have? On one hand, it would make it so that you always feel like you're making choices that will advance your gameplay. On the other hand, no other section of the game will do that. Can you claim perks for adventures you don't have yet? Yeah, you can. So it's not going to waste, or at least not completely. So like, let's say we get a battle perk. I don't have any of these as evidenced by the exclamation mark over them. But this character's already level 2. If I choose this, they're now going to be level 3. Now, yep, there they are, level 3. Now I choose this again, another level 4. Now when I go to hire somebody, if I am offered the archer, there they are, they're level 4. So now when I hire them, I can see, oh yeah, they got some dodge, they got some haste, they got some lifesteal, they got 1 skill. So it's not totally going to waste. It's just if you don't get the adventurer. And to be honest, what I kind of thought is by getting perks for things you don't have, it's an extra reason to go get those things you got perks for. So for example, if you get the archer to level 9, probably stop spending money on other stuff and try hiring the archer. And I get that there's some trade-off in doing that. That's kind of the whole tension of the game. So yeah, this is one of those things where it's like, there's got to be a balance between how it feels and what I'm trying to nudge players toward. But actually, you know what? The other thing that I think this revealed, I didn't even think about this until now. Doing this first time with no meta perks, I think the no meta perks part means I should just force you to do the tutorial. The tutorial only lasts like 10 minutes, but it gives you 15 upgrade points. And with those upgrade points, you could say, start me with, yeah, you can say, start me with a building. You actually can't say to start you with an adventurer. But why not? I guess because the adventurers cost more in terms of money. Maybe I should make the first level of this cost 15 and the next level cost 25. Yeah, I think that's what I should do. Okay. Require players to go through the tutorial and just say that it's short. And then lower the cost of, what's it even called? Lower the cost of this to 15 and then raise the other levels to 25. That way people who are frustrated by getting perks for things they don't have will have another tool to address this. Yeah, I'm gonna try that out. I think that'll help address this feedback. But I'm glad to hear that this was fun for them at least. When RNG doesn't go well, it really doesn't go well. I just kept not getting what I needed. Invest in the fishing pond too early. Trying to gold medal without spending extra perks though. So I'm only using baseline perk points. Okay, fishing. Second, the notion that treasure chests are not in a good place. Doesn't feel it scales well when you commit a lot of resources toward it. It'd be nice if it had a similar scenario where the right set of perks and functionality. Right set of perks functionally removes the need for using weapons to open them. Like adventurers being able to find keys in battle. Oh, interesting. Okay, I should copy this. I think some of this stuff is good. I also kind of wonder what's going to work for the base game and what's going to work for just challenge mode. Codex. Let me copy a link to that message. Copy message link. And then what date was that? 10/4. Okay, so we processed everything on Discord. Thank you all for chiming in and trying out the game, the changes. I just went through on stream and processed all of this. I think I've got some good conclusions for now, except regarding the treasure room, which I still need to think about. Yeah. All right, so let's close out of that. So that's been done. Require players to go through the tutorial. Yep. We should probably write down why I'd be doing this. Rationale. it's short. No, the rationale is really like, by requiring this, players will essentially start with 15 upgrade points without having to do a full length run. It'll also give tips on how to play eventually. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna call this out one more time now that there are probably more people here, but I got a notification from my ISP saying that they're going to be working on the internet at some time in the next 24 hours, and they didn't tell me when. You know, it wouldn't have been so bad if they're like between 10 and 2, but they said between today and tomorrow. So then they said it'll be out for like 45 minutes. So if it happens in the middle of the day, I'm not planning on returning to streaming. I don't like that shift in momentum that happens. So I'm just letting people know if the stream cuts out, it's not you, and I probably won't be back. This is something I definitely want to do, but then let me read this now. What is this? I think we need to chunk through the to-do list for challenge mode so we can move on in November. I also think we need more perks that break the game. We should also make the last 10 challenges more and more difficult. The enemies for sure would need to get a lot harder. Yeah. If we do this, enemies need to get a lot harder, starting with several adventurers who are more powerful. Trivializes the first areas. Yeah. So I'd like to get through pretty much as much of this stuff as possible in the next 2 weeks. I don't think it's really going to work out that way. I think what's going to happen is we're going to work on like new content and perks and stuff, and then maybe have a week to work on just getting through as many things on this list as we can. And a lot of this is probably redundant at this point. Like we had plans for things that aren't even UIs anymore or don't exist, and I can just delete them. All right. But we're finally on to something that is exciting, which is this. Oh, hey, also look at that. New Enchanter Podium art fixes. I'll have to take a look at that one too. But this one for sure first. So this adds in the new battle portraits. And I think I had Kevin take a look at these. Yeah, as if I take a look at this. I think what it is more in line with what you had in mind. The scene now has two borders, the permanent one and the one that goes with the life bar, and the spacer for the name. Hiding the life bar toggles these nodes instead of having to adjust textures and separation. Also restore the modulation color for in-battle adventurers. Look to me, but feel free to adjust the color to your liking. Finally, I moved the info about the portrait location to adventure data. Okay, so let me take a look at this. 1160. And do I have any changes? No. I really want to get these changes into the game. And then I also really quickly want to take a look at this just to see are there pictures included here. Just some color corrections I see. I don't see what changed with this one. Let's take a look. I don't see a difference. There probably is a small difference. Maybe it's like very subtle over here. No, I don't see any difference. Huh. Well, anyway. The book definitely changed. And yeah, I like that. And then this red color changed too. Yeah, nice. This is good. I don't think this is going to be hard to merge. I think it's just the graphics, so it should be fine. But yeah, this one I got to look through. Red and green? No, the red and green I think was the border to show, like that was GitHub doing the red and green there. Right? Like the red border on this and the green border on this is just to indicate that it's the added or the removed thing. But if you look at the contents, I don't I don't see a difference. Should have a color difference display. It has 3 different ways of looking at this. It's just I can't tell what the differences are. Like if I swipe left and right here, I don't see any difference. Whereas if I swipe left and right here, you can see the final crystal is changing colors. And yeah, that's great. I like that. And then same thing here. This is going to be super obvious. It's like we'll see the books change color. The final one, I mean. Oh, the bookmark also changed length. But then for this, I don't see any difference. And I don't know if I'm just blind. Oh, maybe. Okay, never mind. I think I think there's like a slightly darker border around the purple tablecloth. Yeah, I think that's it. Yep. Okay. And that's good. Yeah. I'm happy with it. I trust that whatever changes he made are going to look better than the changes I would have made anyway. You take 2 layers and use the difference method to get... Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Oh, should have, as in... Okay, this is... I don't know if you've seen like the IEEE or what is it? Anyway, they have some like, here's what should means and here's what shall means and here's what must means and everything. When you said should, I thought you meant that they should currently have it, as in it exists. But you're saying I'd like for them to add it. And yes, I agree. Also, hi, Fair Armand. I don't know if I said hi to you. Okay, so we're going to go take a look at this. Yeah, non-normative should. All right, as mentioned, I like these portraits a lot. If we unlock all the adventures, there they all are. This is looking pretty nice. Fantastic. And then we go to the battle map, and now we can see their life bars. We add them to a battle, and then we can see that they're in battle. We can see their life going down, and when they win the battle, well, this is a bad example. Let's send them into a battle that they lose. So they should all die pretty fast. Cool. And yeah, that looks nice. Yeah, perfect. Cool. I love the hero cards. Yeah. They're fantastic. Oh, except for the Witch Doctor has the same one as the Spirit Caller somehow. Okay, that we can fix. How and where would I be able to try the game? Just on the Steam page there that Pharaoh on LinkedIn. If you're talking about the playtest version though, like the stuff with bone mode, that you would need to try the demo first and then just send me a DM on Discord and I can set you up with a game. Okay, so I got to write this down. That I don't know how I didn't notice this the first time, by the way. Or I wonder if this is a new bug. No, it showed even in the picture here. We have a Witch Doctor picture, right? I really hope so. Where are they? Card peoples. Yes, we have one. Okay, so we're just using the wrong one. All right, I got to write that down. Make sure we use the right Witch Doctor picture. But yeah, this is looking really good. And I had to do very little. All right, so where are Kevin's changes? I want to see these 3 all at once. Oh, nice. You can hold shift and click. Okay. So no H separator here. We have a margin and then a name container. Yep, sounds good. Cool. Then we have textures for this stuff. Yeah, different margins. Looks good. Line patch changed. Sorry, this stuff is really hard to explain what's going on here, so I'm just going to be mumbling to myself for a little bit. I just want to make sure nothing looks out of place. And that, yeah, so far, I think this is good. There are a lot of numbers here to make all of this line up. And I hope it's not bound to any length of character name. I don't know what's going to happen if we have like a 3-line character. Because right now, Witch Doctor, Spirit Caller, those are on 2 separate lines. But what if we had 3 lines? Because we might not have it in English, but we might have it in another language. Portrait coordinates, that sounds good. Yep. Okay, so these are probably going to have to change. for the witch doctor. I'll look at that in just a sec. Party member in battle background modulate. Looks good. Should probably put a comment saying like, this lets players know at a glance that their adventures are busy. Namespacer, life bar container. Spacer. Life bar container, yep, looks good. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah. This looks really nice. Whew. Card people. Yeah. All right, so what do we go look at? Adventurer data, I think. And that's where we have portrait coordinates. Yep. And then we go to all adventurer data and we find the witch doctor. And this is going to be wrong. So we got to figure out what that's supposed to be. So I guess here we go to all commits. And then we find card peoples. And it's going to be 1-1, if I'm not mistaken. 1-1. I'm going to run that. And now we should be able to see the witch doctor showing up. Nice. They have like an expression on their face like, am I summoning these zombies? What am I doing? Yeah, love it. Love it, love it, love it. So cool. All right, so I just want to look through the code files without the diffs. So we've looked at all the scene files. We've looked at that. Adventure data, I don't need to do anything special for. All adventure data, same thing. It shows some coordinates. And now we made sure that none of the coordinates are duplicated. This is kind of interesting. Every once in a while, so I'm going to show this for people who've never seen this before. But my task right now is make sure no coordinates are dupes. And here's how we can do that. We select all of these and we just get the whole line. And then we see that we have 10 lines. I select them all and just click unique. And it's still 10, so we know that there were no dupes. But before I made this change, so back when this was 0-2, if I did that exact same set of steps here, I select them all and then I say unique. Now there are only 9 lines, so we know there was a duplicate there. And that uniqueness thing is coming from, I'm not sure where. I think I have a thing installed called transform. Yeah, transformer. I'll link this in if somebody wants it. Whoops, apparently copy link doesn't actually work. What? What does copy link mean if not for... It's weird. Not going on my clipboard. No longer available. Oh, that's why. Huh. Wonder why. I should probably find out why, right? Where's the GitHub? What does this button do? Read me. This doesn't have a link to their GitHub though, right? Uh-oh. It's this, right? Is it called something else now? They don't have a link to the marketplace thing? Last updated, no, it was like a ton of years ago. Why was this removed? Huh. Yeah, I find this very helpful. Oh, I didn't know there was this thing too. Sort lines by length. Huh. All right. Well, ignoring that part. So now we got to go put in my change again. There we go. 1-1. And then what else we have? So this one, party member. Yeah, I think this is fine. And then what's this one? Party member base. So we have some different code in here. Yep, we're getting all these things the way I would expect. That is for the sake of adventurer data. Okay, yeah, sure. I think that's more reasonable. Just removed a line from there. And then setup texture is going to be different. Let me look at that in a sec. Set up texture. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, so all we're going to do is fix this little problem here. Fix witch doctor portrait. It was pointing to these spirit callers. And then we push this, hit push. And we should see it over here now. Okay, yeah. This is looking great. Can't wait to push this to the demo version on Steam. Yeah, this is quite nice. All right, so let's squash and merge that. Now, before I merge the next one, let's go take a look at what the enchanter looks like now. Build the enchanter. Come on, gotta offer me the enchanter. There it is. Oh, whoops, we're on the wrong branch. Okay, hold on. Let's go back to main. And then let's quit out of this and go into this, reload and play. So I want to show what the old enchanter looked like. Honestly, it's not going to look too different because really just some colors changed. But if I click story mode here and we click new game, and I click that, and then we zoom in. So here is what things currently look like. In fact, let me save and load so that that sign goes away. Oh wait, no, sorry, I got to turn this on. And then click that really fast. Oh, it only works if you have the extractor, so I didn't need to click it quickly. In fact, I wonder what happens. Anyway, whatever. There. So there's that. And now we go merge in this 1168. VR checkout 1168. And now when I play this, it's going to look slightly different. Mostly it's just going to look more red. So continue game. And oh, it didn't remember that auto casting was on. That's not right. Or I didn't save after doing that. Oh, I must just not have saved. Yes, I have like a blood red book and a crystal here for this. I like it. I also think he removed a couple of pixels from this to make it look a little bit more magical than like a box. Is that true? You have to really zoom in to see this. Yeah, he did. Yeah, cool. Hiding in the fence? Oh, yeah. All right, so now when we get the farm, it should immediately cast that spell and start dumping some potions into here. So it's planting seeds on the farm and then giving us overflow seeds. Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, I'm happy with this. What ID am I using? I'm using VS Code. All right, let's close out everything. Merge this. This is definitely great. I really, really hope this didn't take Wiki Joe a lot of time because there's just a couple of color changes. All right, so this is... Oh, yeah, and I didn't look at the open book, but I think we're good. Oh, huh. The bookmark does go down farther for this one. Or, well, farther than I used to. Oh, no, wait a second. They all have different length bookmarks. I didn't realize that. I don't think anyone's going to notice. I actually almost wonder if we should just remove the bookmark. But it's kind of interesting. It's like there's this whole spell book and you just care about the one spell. I guess it doesn't really make sense if you think about it. All right, so we can delete all this from the art request. And then say that this was last updated today. And I think he knows the background of this now. Okay. Yeah, this is looking great. Sorry for making you do these, but they look great, of course. I don't have any changes to make. I'll merge as is. Lore ruined. Bookmarks don't make sense. Probably a bunch of useless slime summoning spells on the other pages. Useless? Useless and slime do not go hand in hand. These are the backbone of the Skeleseller economy. Thank you very much. I will have you treat them with respect. One doesn't know how to cook, and the other one loves eating items. I think we need slime mode, where every single square inch of the map is covered in slime. Okay, so now if we look at both changes together, we have these nice spell books, and we have our nice portraits over here. They're looking great. Yeah, so someone suggested something a while ago, which I want to do and just haven't gotten around to yet, which is that once you've unlocked guild supplies, you see their adventurer level on the right and then their guild level on the left. And the exclamation mark can cover the guild level or maybe cover the adventurer level. I don't know. But whatever, anyway, we like show both levels at once. But yeah, I haven't done that yet. All right, so we're back on main, right? Yep. Cool. So this is done. This is done. Consider launching a new demo. Hey, Bokanon. What does it even include? This is somewhat difficult to figure out because we can't just look through the commits. Because most of them are not for the demo. So when was the last demo uploaded? I guess we can look at Steam for that. Can we look at Steam for that? Does it even show? Only if I made a patch note thing, right? Was this it? 0.8.5. How do I even figure out what the demo is on? I don't know. Probably tags. Where's the last demo one? There it is. 0.8.7. So I didn't write patch notes for that? Oh, wait, no, there they are. They just don't have a picture. All right, minor fixes. So 0.8.7, fixed a bug with graphical tearing in some of the UI, change wording. Okay, so that's 0.8.7. We need to find when that was. Oh, wait, the Steam thing had it. Well, whatever. Anyway, this finds it too. August 29th. And that should match this, right? Yeah, August 29th. Okay, so August 29th was the last demo release. So now we need to figure out what happened since August 29th. There it is. Change life to health. I'm not even gonna look at this. I don't care about that. Added latest icons. What were these icons for? Treasure chests. This won't affect the demo. Flimsy fish. Yeah, that won't affect the demo. None of this affects the demo. Yeah. Sinistello, happy 1 year anniversary of being a sub here. Thank you very much for that whole year. Are you going to Next Fest again? You can't. One of the requirements of Next Fest is that you were not in a previous Next Fest with the same game. So every game that appears in Next Fest should have only appeared in that single Next Fest. This isn't always true because they did change the rules on this at some point. So it's possible that someone was in one like 5 years ago and now just finished their game, and 5 years ago they didn't have this rule, so they're allowed to be in it again or something. But it should be fleetingly rare. Hey, Bedro. Brutal? I don't think it's brutal. I think the whole point of it is the next part of Next Fest, which is like, these are upcoming games. If you could be in any number of Next Fests, then people would just be in every single one up until their game gets launched. And then you wouldn't actually know, is this going to come out soon? Like, can I count on the quality of these games being as high as they might be? All right, so that wouldn't have affected this. Revamped challenge mode presumably would not have changed the demo. But let's read through this anyway. Yeah, it doesn't matter, doesn't matter. Actually, you know what? Reading through all this is going to take quite a long time. Just be early access forever, of course. Yeah. Which I think Next Fest would get sullied a little bit by having that happen. All right, I do unfortunately need to read through this stuff, but I don't think it's going to take that long to do. Yeah, all this stuff is with challenge mode. In challenge mode, oh, except for this. Add sounds on the title screen. Okay, that's apparently going to be in the demo. This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Nothing. No, this matters. Fix issue with a quick move menu. Oh, cool. Okay, let's write that down. That's probably fixed in the demo. I wonder, maybe we should try out the demo and find out if that was a problem. Fix bug with fishing pond. Fix this 1157. What even is that? Is this not going to load? There we go. 1157. The pond can have the wrong tooltip. Oh, in challenge mode. I don't care about that. Multiple levels. Fix display name adventure classes. What was that about? I don't care. Yeah, what else? Anything else? Change title screen. Used to be 4 discrete buttons. Oh yeah, we got rid of the load game button. So I guess technically that's different too. Follow with infinite customers. None of this matters. What about that not working? Good. My God, this is such a large PR. Look at how big the scroll bar still is. Oh, man. Fix regular mode bug with customers. We weren't restoring the number of customers you should have on load. I wonder if this is a bug in the demo. I really need to go load up the demo. Engage privacy mode. Let me launch Steam. Give me a sec. It says updating Steam. I had Steam open this morning. PR denied until split. No, I mean, this PR was already merged. So it's just reading through the commit messages that would be hard. Also, if the PR had been split, I just have more places to look at this stuff. Like they were changes that were made. All right, so now I can show this again. Skeleseller demo. So we're going to click this and we're going to, how will I even do this? Hey, G-Light, you look very happy with your decision to switch to Godot. Endless possibilities. Yeah. For the record, I guess we're comparing this to like when I was doing my own thing with Botland. By like cobbling together a renderer and an input handling thing and whatever else. Yeah, I think this is definitely better. All right, so yeah, we had a discrete load game. These probably didn't make sounds. No, it didn't. Yeah, so we didn't have sounds on the title screen other than the music you hear. And then what else? Oh yeah, loading a game. This will probably fail. Yep. Oh, okay. Here's what we got to do then. We got to start a new game. We got to get through the tutorial. This should be pretty fast. Good. Now we have to wait. I can't cheat at this part. But once we're done with the first battle and I build the potion shop, then I can cheat. And then I want to cheat in a bunch of customers and see if these were broken. Because if so, this is kind of a big problem. But I don't know when this broke. Okay, so we do that and that. Now we can save, right? Yeah. So save the game. And now we quit out of here. And we go find the save location. Open dot load save.json. So I want to set my max money to a bunch. And I want to set my current money to a bunch. And then load up the game. Load. Okay, so all we need to do is build a town hall and get maxed out customers. So we should see a whole bunch of customers walk over the bridge. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's enough. Now save and load. And now how many do we see walk over the bridge? If it's just 2, then this was bugged. There are 2. Oh God. Okay. That's not good. We're going to fix this. We're going to push this today. But one of the problems is there's been a YouTuber, Idle Prince, who's been uploading their playthrough in parts. How do I find this person? Yeah. So every time they reload, they don't have as many customers as they should, which is okay as long as they can still upgrade this. Once this is maxed out, it would just be broken. Oh boy. Yeah, well, whatever, it's been fixed. All right, so that turns out that it was a bug. Yeah, anything else in here? No. What's this one say? Code difficulty. Balance, nerf, fix bug where cost wasn't correct after refunding. That doesn't matter. Cool. Okay, so that's all the stuff that definitely impacts this. That is unfortunately not all of it because that was just this one. We need to look through anything else that was here. Fix bug with granting rewards multiple times. What is this? Oh no, that doesn't matter. Improve tool tips for meta perk. Stop showing elite banner. Rebalance income multiplier. None of this stuff matters. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Okay, so here we gotta go look through these. This is another mega PR, but not as mega as the last one. All right, what do we got? Improve some perk descriptions. I wonder if that's going to impact regular mode. None of this stuff matters. Nah, none of this matters. Stronger, higher, buff the warehouse, nerf auto fishing. Hey, who cares? How you doing? Haven't seen you in a little while. What's been up? Next challenge, rebalances stuff. Throttle rate on item drag errors. I mean, this technically impacts the demo, but it's just not very important. Also perk. Okay, yeah. All right, so that one is easy. So what's next? Fix typo. Is this something I just did? No. Battle progress bar update. Okay, so improve battle regeneration bars. Add adventurer portraits. Oh, there's going to be the new spell in the demo. Oh, no. I did not plan for that to be there. The new spell is in the demo. Huh. I'm busy playing Dark Souls. Nothing much otherwise. Well, that sounds like fun. And hey, Shot, I'm doing well. I'm feeling positive. We made all these changes to challenge mode. We converted into bone mode. We made it more casual. We added a bunch of content and everything. And in general, the feedback's been pretty good. So it's not perfect yet. We're going to spend the next probably 2 weeks fixing stuff. I am going to be gone on, I think, October 22nd until pretty much the end of the month. So the last work day, the last stream day will probably be the 21st. So streaming until the 21st, then resuming on what date? Probably the 3rd. So since we've got this schedule, I want to work on bone mode until this. And then I want to start working toward launch. Because you feel positive. I'm not an unsigned integer. Wouldn't you say I'm not a signed integer? Because I'm only positive right now? Huh. AWS gonna kick back in? What do you mean? Anyway, we've got, what is that? Two work weeks pretty much. I don't know if you should really count the 21st itself because I probably wouldn't be streaming for very long on that day anyway. So yeah, we got 2 work weeks. I think that's a good amount of time to work on some polish, some balance, some content. Yeah, and just kind of chunk through this to-do list. Oh. That is not at the forefront of my mind, despite the context of what I just said. You're not an integer at all. I'm more like an object. Programming terms. All right, so we'd have to write this down in the patch notes. Let me go try some things out though. So let's save this. I mean, I know this isn't a huge set of patch notes here. So patch notes.md. And then let's go try this out. Feature flags. So is debug false? Is demo true? Is playtest false? Is exported build false? Yeah, that's good. I've been practicing on a split keyboard. I can already type like a normal person. Nice. See, everyone gets there in the end. All right, so here's what the new demo is going to look like. We'll just have play game. If we hit continue, it should, pretty sure it should have failed. What? Hold on a second, let me think about this. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? Didn't I bump the save version like twice? Where's the version in here? 9. And what does GameSaver have? 9. What? I don't understand that. I loaded it from Steam. I'm so confused. If I hit load game, won't this fail? Yeah. What? All right, sorry, we got to go through this again. I got to understand what I'm missing here. Maybe... No, I don't know. I don't know what I did wrong. All right, well, I mean, this is going to take another like 20 seconds. I'm a pointer on a stack that references a whole bunch of atoms on a heap. No, just one atom. All right, we're waiting. Yeah, don't get lucky with mental swiftness or whatever. And there we go. Okay, so I saved this and I quit. And now what version is that? 7. What? Did I load? I don't know what I did. I don't want to watch the VOD again to try to figure this out. But I'm nearly positive that when you try loading now, it's going to break people's save files. So maybe this is actually a dumb move. Yeah. Uh-oh. All right, what do we do? I don't think the demo actually changed. Just ship it. I mean, I am tempted to just ship it. There's only one YouTuber who was playing, and I think he already recorded all of his runs. And it's not like we've had a ton of people playing since then. And if their save files break, I guess they just restart. But yeah, these changes are not significant enough for people to probably really care about them. This one's pretty important, though. Well, let's load up the demo again. I am kind of curious what happens. So if I hit play and continue, okay, yeah, that's gonna fail. What if I did just change the version to 9? Would it work? It would. But that's not proof that nothing's gonna break. Oh man. Did it work correctly? Yeah, it'd be hard to tell because I didn't really have anything built. And I might have changed the save format of anything. But it was probably only going to be stuff that affects bone mode and not story mode. Yeah, anyway, yeah, you're right. So I just shouldn't worry about this. There's already a message in the game saying as much too. Okay, so then here's what we should do. We should set this back to 7. We should turn to the title. Doesn't actually matter that I set it back to 7. Just click new game. Yeah, unfortunately, you gotta go through this again. So cool. But this time I'm going to cheat in a bunch of money. Not as much money. I want to test out something very specific here. So let's just leave it at that. Now I'm going to go to max money. And actually, no, not even change max money. Let's just set this to 150. So I'll give myself a bunch of money. We'll load the game. And that will let us get a couple things. We'll hire an adventurer. We'll send them both into the canyon. And we'll get the town hall with auto battle. There. So now they're going to win this battle, which will skip us right ahead to getting some money here. And then I want to see how the farm... Oh, wait, no. We can't do that. Okay, never mind. I'm going to do this, and then we're going to cheat in some more money. Because I want to see what happens when you get the enchanter and you can use the new spell. There's going to be no perks that even modify it. All right, so we save again. And now max money should be higher. And regular money we're going to set to... How much is enough? Let's start with 2,000. See how that goes? So load the game. And build that. And that. Let's put these in the battle. What else can we build? We don't really need the warehouse or this, but let's get it anyway. And let's get some more adventurers. And send them into battle too. Get hardworking adventurers just in case. Actually get a few of these things. Sure. Let's get some of the farming upgrades. There. Okay, that was 2,000 gold. Now we'll start this. Give myself a bunch of potions. What's the limit of the demo? Is it like a tutorial? If so, you could also have just a button on the paid version to skip tutorial. No, the demo is just the beginning of the paid game, basically. So it's not just a tutorial. Alright, so now we have another worker. And now I guess we can send them all into the volcano. I mean, I might as well let them get all of these in here. Good. Almost filled the farm. Cool. Okay. So now send them all into the volcano. We can get, I guess, well water. There. Now we're out of money. Now we're playing the game for real. Although we have a fully upgraded farm thanks to cheating. All it takes is a little bit of cheating. Alright, so now we can level up an adventurer. Let's get the rogue. I just need them to battle fast enough that they can get these potions and keep the farm filled. We could also just cheat our way through this too, I guess. There. You can level up an adventurer. Oh, nice. Just cruising through that, huh? Almost have 85. They want a blue potion. We'll give them that. No, they're both going there. Yeah, that didn't work. But we can put that back there. Okay, so now I can level this up again. Get another quicker strike. Yeah, portraits look great. They are so nice. Okay, so now that we're leveling up, we can probably send our adventurers into the next location. Well, I guess we need enough yellow potions from this one, so I'll just keep leveling up these. There we go. They should be winning really fast now. And I'll get these potions in here. They took 7.6 seconds. How long will they take the next time? We haven't had an item disappear yet. There we go. Now we can get the garbage slime. 7.7 seconds. Yeah, so they're taking about the same amount of time. We can upgrade them some more. I need more of these potions. Just 3 more. They're winning so fast, at least. Couple of pumpkins. How much does that cost? 190? Let's upgrade this then. Alright, there we go. Now we can go to the next location. And all these can go over here. Good, good, good. In fact, we don't even really need to... Yeah, we don't need to let this all play out. I'll get one more level on the archer, and then we'll move on. Excellent. We can see our overflow seed 6, so we'll plant 2 right there. Nice. Get rid of some of these things. Yeah, I don't have a need for this stuff. Alright, is that enough for the archer? 85? Oh, we have some pumpkins growing. That'll give us a lot. And it's not like this is taking very long. Alright, just need a couple more crops. Any crop will do it now. Good. Cool. So let's max that out and then send them into the new location. Actually, I'll have to do one more battle so I can get the last boot. Yeah. And there we have it. All right, next location, and send in our level 4 adventurers. They should easily win, and that'll let me get the enchanter, which is why I did any of this. Okay, now we can take this sword and give it to you, and it's a guaranteed crit. 244 gold. All right, so send all these over there. I don't know if they'll win. Yeah. All right, so buildings, enchanter's den, I think, and the fishing pond would be good. So we do have the new spell in here, faux potions. So I'm gonna try this out. I'm just gonna plant a bunch of these on the farm. Nice. We also won the battle. We don't have enough for this. We need 75. I mean, it's taking its sweet time. It's gonna last for another 5 seconds. Did it make another fish? Oh, nice. We have an overflow fish egg now. Okay. We still don't have enough for this. We got it. Are the Skellies buying today? Hey, Hagermanauer. We are just testing something new. I'm gonna update the demo. We got these cool new portraits in the game, and a couple of other little things. But one of the other things got added is this spell for making potions appear in your extractor. And I wanted to see how that felt in the demo, so we're kind of trying that out. But then I'm going to move on to other work here. All right, so now we can level up this character. Put these over here. Actually, you know what? Go clear out the pond. And I'll put this in. And we'll turn this off. This is a cool spell. All right, good. Got them all of the sludge we're going to get from there. Now we have no loot. I guess let's sell one of these things to the slime. Can offer more money. I like that spell, and it's sort of self-balancing. I like it too. I also like the perk for it, which makes it auto-harvest all your crops. I think that's pretty nice. But there's nothing for it in the base game. Like, we have no perks that modify it. We just have entropic magic that kind of helps it a little bit, I guess. It'll cast that every once in a while. But yeah, I'm very, very glad that it's in the game at least. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's breaking a demo or anything. I do want... I don't know. Maybe we should remove it at some point from the demo. Although maybe the demo should just end before you even get to the enchanter. The demo's pretty extensive right now. I'll write it in the pruning note. Consider pruning the demo. See 933 for my thoughts. Wait, what is this here for then? Okay. Well, maybe stopping in the farm and the tavern is good. Allow adventurers to get to level 5. The dragon be the final boss. I'll just write this here. If we allow the enchanter to be in the demo, I think we should hide. Like disable some of the spells. But if you don't have at least 3, it's not gonna feel great. Now that we have 4 spells on the enchanter, I think the enchanter should not be in the demo. Probably won't feel super impactful until they're fully upgraded. So it's better to have the whole system feel new for the full game. All right, well, let's save and quit. And then I guess publish a new demo. So revert this and go to the release tool. We're on main, right? Yeah. I think this might even check to see if we're on main. And it shouldn't ask me about environment variables for challenge mode because I'm not publishing challenge mode. So demo. All right, so this is the big question here. Did I fix the customer's load bug? Yeah. Yeah, that was fixed a while ago, but I can... How would I verify that? I guess I'll just verify it on the... Actually, it wasn't a demo-specific thing. I could just press F5. Also, hi, Tyrion. Yeah, let's try it. Oops, wait. Darn it, I can't do it right this second. Yeah, I can just verify that we fixed it. Let me write this down. Okay. So, yeah, what did we make this version? The playtest is up to like 0.9. something. I don't even know what, 15, I think. The demo was on 0.8.7. I guess this doesn't feel like a major change. So 0.8.8 is probably the best thing to do. Right, are any of these super important? No, not really. All right, 0.8.8. I'm just gonna let this run. I'm not gonna try to get ahead of this too much. Well, actually, I don't know. I guess we could go post the new patch notes. Where do we even do that? Problem is, the instructions that tell me where to do it haven't printed out yet. I guess we could go try to find those instructions on stream. Yeah, here it is. Post on Steam. See past news events for examples. Okay, so we go to this link. Game update. Regular update. Sure. And then look at past news events for examples. UI overhaul. All right, so what do we do for this? If we were to sum it up in one line, what would we say? I think it's like still some visual updates here with these things. These 2 things at least. How do you get all of your assets and art for the game? Quickie Joe has made a lot of them. And then we started with some base asset packs. So fix some issues, improve the look of the game. I think I'll just call this Battle Portraits. 0.8.8 patch notes. Yeah. All right, so we need a new image for this. And I like to use it as the cover image, but I guess let's write out the patch notes first. So it's going to be this stuff, which I need to format, so we're not going to treat this like it's final. Okay. We've still been working hard on post demo content, now called bone mode. So there aren't many changes for the demo, but we're excited to share the new battle portraits with all of you. All right, so let's just make a list here. Note, this new version will break your old save files. If you want, reach out on Discord and I can try to restore your progress. Yeah. I'll just say this, but I don't expect anyone to do this. All right. So added sound effects to the title screen. For clicking / hovering buttons. Let's say added button sound effects. They were previously silent. What else do we do? Fixed an issue where you could use the quick move menu before unlocking it. All right, this is probably waiting for me to type something. Yes, I want to upload to Steam. Oh, and you know what we could do? We could copy this and go test out the customer bug. Should be very fast. Assuming I have money. We hit play, continue. Is this where I left off? Yeah, this is where I left off. Okay, so we should have 3 customers in town. Yep, there they are. So it is working. But if we were to set it to that many and save and load, we should see, what, 6 pop into town? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's more than 2. That's all that matters. It's 5 total. Is that what it's supposed to be, though? Yes. Great. Great, great, great. Do you want to upload to it? Sure. All right, what else do we do? Improved the title screen. So this can go here. And how do we tab this in? There we go. And there used to be a discrete button for load game. It's now baked in to story mode. Fixed a bug where loading from a save file would always give you 2 customers, even if you had upgraded how many visit your town. This I'm not going to include. This other stuff, though, is pretty nice. Visual changes. Added portraits for each adventurer. And improved the look of the life regeneration bar when waiting for full health after a battle. Oh yeah, and then added a new spell. Added a new spell to the enchanter. Bow potions. This produces magical potions to fuel your extractor. Oh yeah, and then also added a tooltip to the extractor to make it clear how the accumulated values work. Make more sense. Yeah, we should now include some pictures. Forgot about that tooltip change. Okay, so let's hit save before I forget. And now let's go get some pictures. Oops, I loaded the wrong thing. I meant to load the game. Stop that. I want to put pictures of like 4 different things. Why is that still loading the release tool? What's going on? I'm hitting play on that, right? There we go. Yeah, so I want a picture of faux potions. I think that'd be nice. Well, let's get rid of the exclamation mark. And then hover over this. I'm gonna take a picture of this. Whoops. And I don't know if we really need a... You know, let me just cut out the mana crystal. Yeah, there we go. So there's one picture. So this goes for added a new spell. I just paste it. Nice. Okay, that looks good. Bullet points are a little bit weird. What else? Added portraits for each adventurer. Yep, let's go take a picture of that. Should I take a picture of all of them? No, just these, I think. Let's take it like this. Okay, improve the look of the life bar when regenerating. Yep. So let's go over to here. Start a battle with just a couple of them, I guess. Oh, right, we could just force a loss. What am I doing? All right, forget this. Quit. Click that. Click that. So now they're going to lose. I'm just going to take a picture of this whole thing. There. And then anything else I want to take a picture of? Oh, the extractor. That's right. All right, but for this, I want to be on a new file so that it only shows for the farm for now. Maybe. Yeah, my phone has the same problem. All right, so for this to work, I need to, I guess, turn this on and then grant a bunch of items. There. And then click this. I'm waiting for it to give me one full egg. There we go. There, that's good. Okay. All right, nice. So that's everything there. Now I just need cover artwork for this. How do we get that? Dimensions, 800 by 450. Okay, I want to take it of this. Or no, maybe of just battle windows that are done. Like I send these 2 characters over here and I send these 2 characters over here. And then turn off auto repeat for both of them and force a win. And take a picture of that. Needs to be 800 by 450. So let's take it like that. And then open up GIMP. And then shrink it. 800 by 450. That's tiny. It's Beezy. How do I know that my colors are well chosen in my game? Do you know that? I'm not very good at that stuff. But with that said, I think the things that are probably important, one is consistency. So it's like, let's say you're going for a vibrant world. Like picture, I don't know, a Super Mario game, basically. Like the whole world should probably be vibrant. You don't just have some random section where all the colors are kind of muted, but not really, and there's no in-game reason for it. So I think consistency is important. And then also just kind of the feel of it. Like, our players playing it and they say, hey, this is really grim, and you want that because it's a horror game, or I don't know, like everything's too bright and it's hard to focus because there's some precision aspect to it, something like that. But yeah, as far as actually picking colors, I can't help you there. I'm very, very bad at that. What was I going to do? I was going to trim this image down. Is there a way? Can we just make this bigger? 800 by 450. Man. All right, well, I guess we can shrink the size of the whole image. Just scale it to 0.5%. Percent 50 scale. That's to look fine. Not really. God, why is this like so bad? Let's set it to none. Is that better? It's better for the pixel art. Is it worse for the text? How would I do this then? I guess I would change this so that it's a game scale of 1. And then take a picture. And then make this 800 by 450. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, but I didn't take it tall enough now. Okay, but still, I'm at least, I'm getting there. Let's just take the whole thing. And then shrinking it should be pretty easy. 800 by 450. And now we just make that. No, wait, it's still. That would be our cover image. I mean, it kind of works. It doesn't really show off the portraits as well as I would have liked. We could just stack the windows on top of each other. I could do this. And this. Still have difficulty choosing the right colors. I think it's probably, like I said, I don't really know much about picking colors, but it's probably like anything else that you start and it's difficult and then you keep doing it and it gets a little bit easier. So I think what would probably help is you entering the feedback loop to find out from other people who have this skill, did I do a good job? And if they think that you did do a good job, then you can use that for future color picking that you do. Yeah, so this is kind of what I want a picture of here. I don't think this is a very compelling picture, but also I don't think a ton of people are going to see this. That's probably fine. So let's put this into temp and just call this something like VO88. No, I'll just say battle portrait. Why is file ping open? Oh, because of GIMP. All right. So now we use that in here. We go to temp, battle portraits, drag this somewhere, upload. Success. So we're done. Yeah, nice. All right, so save that. We can finally, this took longer than everything else that I did, just writing this out. Where's the cover image? That shows the shop, but I didn't take a picture of the shop. What is this image in the background? I don't understand. Yeah, this is correct. Huh. And what's the other kind of image you can have? A header image? 1920 by 622. I guess. We could just make it a larger version of this, right? 1920 by 622. Well, now we don't need the windows to be stacked on top of each other like that. We can just dock them both. Oh my God. It's taking so long. All right, there we go. Resize. And now export that as battle portraits header. All right, now we go upload that thing. Cool. And now we should have some nice looking artwork. Yeah, nice. I like that a lot. Love it. It's looking great. Okay, but now we need to actually make the build live. So let's go do that. Where is that? On stream. Yeah, go to build URL. So this and then the flavor. Oh man, I don't have that printing out, do I? Oh wait, it's still release tool? Release tool is exited. Oh, I ran it accidentally. Man, what's the URL for this? Oh, nice. I've got it in my history in Chrome. Whew. Okay, so default preview. Yeah, now I gotta go use my phone. Let me type this out. V088-demo. Set build live. Click OK. And now go to Steam. Done. Okay, build is live. I don't think the patch notes are live yet because I didn't click publish. Done. Done. Cool. Yeah, that was the first demo publishing in what, a month and a week. I like these patch notes. They're pretty visual. All right, so we're done with that. Whew. I should probably take a break. How long has it been? 2 hours. Yeah, I should probably take a break. All right, I'll be back in just a little bit. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Okay, sorry for the slightly protracted break there. Close the game. Is this some sort of game for when I'm busy? Yeah. It's Jump Royale. Made it on stream a while ago. We also made, well, I guess we was more for Jump Royale, but I mostly also made something called Animal Royale. I wonder if I have a GitHub repo for it. I think there was a video somewhere. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, let's mute this. This was a Minecraft plugin. So I would run Minecraft on my computer, and then people would connect through Twitch chat, and they would type a command, and you would play as a sheep and shoot TNT at the other sheep. So I have an example video in here. I think it was sped up though, of a whole bunch of people playing, and it just spawned in tons and tons of sheep, and turned into just pure chaos at some point. Like worms, kind of like worms, I guess, except for that you had a very limited arsenal. You could shoot TNT, and you could, I think, like teleport to somewhere else in the arena. So it was a very it was a very ludicrous game. But also it wasn't as fun as Jump Royale because it took place in 3 dimensions. So it was harder for people to understand, like, okay, you gotta rotate and then you gotta like angle your sheep in a certain direction and then shoot. So I didn't really have the lasting power, I'd say. Anyway, okay, where do we leave off here? So I think the next best thing that we can do is start looking through this list. Alternatively, let's do this outside of the list for a second here. If I just go back to, wait, let's set this back to 2x. If I go back to here, go to the title screen, go to this. So where do I think the most work is needed for this? I guess revamping the treasure room. I don't need changes, right? No. All right, let's just copy paste this out of here and delete everything else. Okay, so revamping the treasure room, coming up with more perks. Those are probably the most important things. And those are going to impact people now. I'm torn on this because I guess it's just that there are so many directions we could go in right now. But yeah, I do think, I wonder if I were to just pick between these two, which one's more important, I wonder. I guess having the treasure room feel good is probably important. We did a whole lot to change the enchanter and a decent amount to change the fishing pond. And everything else is in pretty good shape. I'd say the farm was already pretty good. The warehouse, we just did some minor changes, which is pretty much just like improve the storage of it. Even the content of the game, it's like we added a bunch of perks that started feeling really good. And yeah, the treasure room's not in a great spot right now. The problem is that every other system in the game we had in the base game, and then we just got it working for the new game. The treasure room, we never tested in the base game. No one's like used this and figured out, hey, does it feel good? Is it fun? I guess we should probably talk about that. Yeah, we should probably talk about that. All right, then I guess let's start there. Then I want to organize this list at some point. It's in hard mode, treasure room doesn't seem work with it. Where's the note I wrote on this? Here it is. Figure out how to make the treasure room more appealing. All right, so let's copy paste this at the bottom of Scratch. Revamping the treasure room. And just change this to a regular bullet point. Okay, so we start with a date. The problem is that I never got the treasure room feeling great in story mode first. It was a system that I made to try to elongate story mode. But then what? We like immediately went into challenge mode? I think we immediately pivoted to challenge mode. Thus, we could change it for both modes or just for challenge mode. in my mind, one of the big problems is that you need both money and and keys to get treasure. Once you can afford keys, getting lots of them isn't really a problem. At which point you're just swimming in treasure. So I guess some like high level approaches we could do here. We could change the treasure room in some way so that you make progress more consistently. Maybe just you can make more progress in the early game. I think that's what it might be about. Or we could change the treasure room so that it's more of an add-on system than a base system. Maybe other systems grant treasure chests or keys. I guess what do I even want this to be in? At its core, the treasure system, by the way, so people who don't know what the treasure system even is, let me show it really fast. So the treasure system is this. You would buy a treasure chest, and it by default contains some random set of loot in here. So in this case, we're going to get one mage fire rod. That would be used to give you +5 life and +1 power on your mage. So it's a way of buffing your mage. But you can see there's a timer at the top of it that says 10 minutes. You're not really expected to wait 10 minutes. You would also get the key grinder, or the weapon grinder, and then you would put weapons into here, which I'm going to just fake for now, and you get keys out of it. And these keys could open the chest sooner and also change what you're getting. So in this case, it says it opens it up sooner and increases the drop multiplier. So by putting this in, we're going to go down to 6 minutes and 24 seconds. And now the quantity is 2. And when they put in the other key there, now the quantity is 4, and now it is 6. So we end up getting, we open this up and we get 6 mage fire rods here, which when my workers bring this stuff to the guild, so they're picking them all up now, they're walking over here. I'll speed this up a little bit. When they make it here, the mage stats are increasing as they dump these off. So now we can see that we reach level 4 and we're getting +30 health and +6 power. And when you consider how much health and power they have, that's a pretty significant chunk of their health and power just by getting some treasure. So that's what this system is. Part of the problem is that you need keys to make it not just take forever to open these chests. And the keys you get from weapons, the weapons you get from battle. So it's costing you money to get the chest, and then it's costing you money in the form of weapons that you're getting rid of to turn into keys. And if you don't put any keys in, you're only getting a very small number of items out of it anyway. So in this case, we'd get 1. But if we got all these special keys, we'd get a lot more. Let me increase this. Special keys, yeah, there. So now we're guaranteed special keys. So if I take the skeleton key, for example, and we put it in here, it goes from giving me 1 item to giving me 8 of each of these items. So I'm getting 16 items out of this, which is pretty nice. If I add in a bunch of workers here, they'll come pick them all up and then go power my characters. Yeah. So how can we change this? So as core, the treasure system is for increasing stats. It's sort of like the farm and pond, except, well, in the base game, but in bone mode, the treasure room only gives base stats, power and health. In the base game, there aren't any other stats, well, besides fortitude. Dodge, haste, lifesteal, and return damage. And I wonder if it should do something just totally different. In the base game, I like that it's another progression thing. And I think we should try to keep it as close to what it does in the base game, so the base game would have taught you how to use it. And at a high level, I still like the idea of keys is interesting in that you can change how much loot is inside a chest or how many different kinds of items there are. In practice, your skeletons take the keys and apply them where they want. Also, unless you have like 4 chests at a time, it doesn't matter too much how you apply a key. So I guess where's the fun of the system? Because I still think the interesting part for me is like, hey, this thing increases the multiplier. Well, they all now increase the multiplier. Let's skip this. I want a different color key. Yeah, this one increases the quantity. So it's like you'd have to figure out which number is lowest and then apply that key to it. It's not super interesting, but it was at least part of the fun of figuring this out. Like what's going to maximize your output for this, or what items do you want? And I don't want to spend forever changing this system. I'd like to see if there's some small tweak we can do to it. Like we could do some bigger changes here, some just random ideas. Could be something like every minute that a treasure chest exists, it spits out 1 item from within the chest. That way you don't just get all of the loot at the end at opening time. I mean, that doesn't really make any sense, but it's an idea we could have. I guess there was another problem that I have here, which is how keys are being used. Problems with the treasure room. So 1, it feels like you have to invest a lot into it. 2 is that I never got it feeling great in story mode. Three is that once you can afford keys, getting lost isn't really a problem. And the 4th is that skeletons take keys from the storage automatically, preventing you from applying them where they would have their greatest impact. Grant free chests every X seconds by default, aka the perk. So that perk on its own does make the treasure room feel like it's worth getting, because at least then you're boosting all of your stats. But I still think you'd need to like start with the treasure room or something. I guess you wouldn't need to. I guess if you're getting automatic chests, it wouldn't matter as much. But I think the key system would still be a problem. It almost makes me wonder if you shouldn't have to use weapons to get keys. So one way we could do this is faux potions could be something like could have a weapon component to it. Keys could get automatically produced every so often according to some chances that are baked in, maybe on a cycle. Because I guess the other thing is getting iron keys isn't that interesting. And we could change how you stack items within a chest. Instead of X times Y items, instead of X times Y times Z items, this is like multiplier times quantity times item types. We could just add 1 here and there. You depend on the enchanter for it to feel good. Well, these are just ideas I'm spewing. It could just be that they're just automatically getting produced. Like the weapon grinder is not really grinding weapons. It's just the key machine. Every 20 seconds, spit out a key if you have space. And then we change the keys to do something like, key could say something like +1 item of an existing type. A key could be like +1 type of item. And another one could be something like times X items or something. I don't know. So you're building up a chest and maybe out of it you get 17 items, which is currently impossible. You can't get 17 of something. It's got to be a multiple of 2, or it's got to be the number 1, I guess. But it makes me wonder if that would feel better. I guess then you wouldn't have a weapon dump, which you might not need, or weapon sink. I know people have talked about needing an armor sink. We could make this take in any kind of item. It could be that it just spits stuff out sooner. Yeah, could be that you speed up the weapon grinder. Or like we call it a key machine or something. It could be you speed up the key machine by putting in items, but you don't have to do that. I think anything that ends up taking in items, though, means it's going to speed up as the game goes on. So if you don't need that speed up, so like the farm works that same way. The farm starts as 2x2, and every 2G, I think it is, you get a seed. So by the time you're getting bigger potions, you also have a bigger farm. You end up getting to 5x5. This is 4 crops. This is 25 crops. So now it takes 50 gold to fill the farm. But at the beginning, it takes 8 gold to fill the farm. So not only are you getting more output, but you're taking more input. With the key machine, it doesn't really work that way. And that's why this is a problem. You eventually hit the point where you're getting enough weapons to fill the grinder to get keys, but then you have practically infinite keys. So unless we make the cost of it increase, at which point there's like some sweet spot for how you're using the treasure system. So I wonder what we can do about that. If it's any item, specifically how workers would prioritize it. If you have it turned on, they may just dump everything into it as well. Yeah, I don't think I like the idea of this taking items as input. For story mode, it makes more sense because we need there to be a money sink. And every time you take a weapon, that means that you're sinking some potential money into it. So I think that's the other important part here. In story mode, this was made to be both progression and a money sink. It was a system with 3 main purposes. Add a route for power progression. Add a money/item sink. And elongate the game via more perks. Just by being a new system, having more perks, etc. The money sink isn't really needed as much for this, I guess. Like, if we think of all the other systems that are in the game, there are only 5 other ones that you can get. The warehouse, the farm, the pond, the enchanter, and the garbage slime. None of these are money sinks for sure. And these you could kind of consider to be potion sinks. But there's at least the enchanter spell that bypasses that. The garbage slime gives you money. It's definitely not a money sink. And the warehouse is just item storage. That doesn't generate money and it doesn't cost money, I guess. And the enchanter you can kind of think of as like sort of generating money, I guess. So yeah, only these even come close to it. So having the treasure room be a money sink seems a little bit weird given that you already have something to spend money on. Hey, Bongo. Skeleseller's going well. Yeah, we just published a new version today of the demo, which I wonder if, is this public? Can I look at this? Ah, we can. Yeah, nice. Yeah, yay indeed. There is a link to the patch notes. Yeah, the download link is there if you want to check it out. Well, this is interesting to think about because, yeah, I don't think we need another money sink in bone mode. I think an item sink would be okay. Although most people would, well, I guess most people want it to be armors because you have a weapon sink right now. Although it also has to do with how many armors I'm giving out. Want it to be whatever item is pooling up too much. Hey, Campbell Soup. So another thing to think about here is we have 2 components to the treasure system. buying a chest and then getting keys by grinding weapons. I'll just write, Xyletics suggested that we could automatically grant chests by default rather than requiring a perk. And at that point, it kind of makes me wonder, I guess you'd be able to speed this up. Yeah, maybe perks could speed up how quickly this happens. Like, what do we need for the sake of challenge mode here? I think we still need some other decision-making process. I still want this to impact your decision-making process somehow. Because it was just some extra thing that you got, like the farm, basically. The farm doesn't really have a lot of decisions. It's do I put a potion in it or not? Do I cast a slightly different spell or not? And then every once in a while, you need to go back to it and manage it. We could turn this into a management thing. Like workers don't touch keys. I don't think this is a good idea, but I'm just spitballing here. Workers don't touch keys, so you need to do it. And if you don't do it, then your treasure room isn't really going by any faster. Or I don't know, there's some like hand crank on the key machine, and if you just like spin the thing around, you'll generate keys. But if you leave it, then you need to, I don't know, assign a worker to it or something. Again, I don't want to have to like redesign the entire thing here. I like the idea of actually getting treasure out of here. I think that's fine. And I do think it'd be nice to have this stuff automatically fly to the guild, so you don't need to use all your workers. Although with the meta perks being that you can start with like 10 extra workers, it might not matter as much. And it's nice to see some activity in town. Like I said, we've coded almost all of this already anyway. It's like I have these keys here. We have ways of giving you loot. And I like the different key ideas. I'd like to salvage some of the code we already did. And even the idea of keys. I think keys are really cool. Remove the perk to level up granting special keys and just make it default. You're saying like you just get special keys all the time and they just do different things? Because I think if that were the case, like we have a couple different routes we could go. We could automatically grant chests. We could automatically grant keys. We could change keys to be less powerful and expect that you'd use them more often. Oh, you get a chance at special keys. We could get rid of iron keys, but not guarantee that a special key. Well, get rid of iron keys, but make keys rarer in general. Like, if we want to make this a management thing, management system sort of like the farm. The farm is something that can take up your workers' time, or it could cause you to click like 10 times per minute to manage it. Could be that putting keys in chests kind of work the same way. Like you make a worker do it or you do it, and that's the main way you open up chests. So we set the time to like 10 minutes and we just flood you with keys. I don't think it's fun. Also, if it's never ending, I don't think that would be good either. Any keys, auto opening, selective loot. Man, this is probably going to diverge from what we do in story mode. The investment is a lot, not only through cost, but through perk investments. And if you don't pick those chance increases for better keys, it feels really bad to only get iron keys. Yeah, I agree with that. Also, I think if all we did is grant you special keys by default, I think the treasure system would be overpowered. Also, it's funny seeing the rogue carry a key. It's just like on their head. They're not even holding it. I wonder if we need to lower the key graphic in the sprite sheet. I never even thought of that. We probably do. In fact, why didn't I think of that? Isn't that like an obvious problem? They're just higher. Yeah, they're just floating there. They need to be lower. Okay, I'll write that down too. Well, that's pretty easy to fix. Lower keys in the sprite sheets. They're just hovering off of whatever they're placed on as a result of floating in the sprite sheet. I'll take a picture of the characters. Hopefully I can get a couple of them at once. I need them walking downward though. There we go. All right, so here's one. And here is another one. Good. So I want both of these in the same picture. Why is this always so hard to do? There. Paste this over here. And just make this a little bit bigger. Cool. Then merge. And then take a picture of this. And put this over here. Great. Yeah, I guess the other problem was getting iron keys feels bad. You invested weapons into them. All right, so what if there were different key machines? Like an iron key machine, red key. I don't know. I'm just gonna write the colors: teal and what's the last one? I don't know, gold. And they all spit out keys every so often. And you have perks to change how they output keys. Getting only iron keys feels bad. I think it feels bad even if you get mixed in with other ones because they're drastically different. Like a colorful key is equal to 3 iron keys plus a benefit, plus more loot. And that loot is increasing a multiplier in the x times y times z equation, which starts out at, I don't remember what, like a total of 4 maybe. I don't fully remember. But anyway, if it's something like this, so you're getting 4 items, you increase this 1 to 2, and now you're getting 8 items. So it's like you're getting 2 more minutes off of the time, and you're getting 4 more items. So then it's like, oh, getting just an iron key feels really bad. But it kind of makes me think that if we're going to do this, make a change or have it spit out keys differently, that we should probably just make fractional multipliers. We could make fractional multipliers 1.2 times 1.1 times 1.3 and then round the result. Then you could put more keys in without it doubling the number of items. If we're considering free keys, yeah, I think with free keys, I think it would be fine. And I wonder if that's the route to go. You still pay for treasure chests, but keys are abundant. And by getting a bunch of keys accumulating, it might be like, oh, it's time to get a treasure chest because I have the keys anyway. I kind of like that idea. Although I guess what's the other way around? You're getting chests for free, then they're ticking down on their own, and then you apply, then you need to struggle to get the keys somehow. That you're getting keys for free, which would encourage you to get a treasure chest. You would have perks to change how you get the keys. Keys would affect multipliers in a fractional way so that they're more granular. I still think there's a problem of your skeletons are just going to apply them wherever they want. Hmm. And if you are getting keys for free, we probably need more storage than this. I mean, even it's not hard to add more storage, I guess, but we only have 5 slots right now. We have to move this somewhere else anyway. So, you know, maybe we move it, whatever, up here. So it's closer to the treasure rooms. You're just dragging keys into that. What if keys applied to all chests at once? Then you could just click them like you could a crop. And if we have fractional values, that might be kind of interesting. So then you'd be encouraged to have multiple chests going at once. There's no way for me to do this, is there? So that I guess we can turn on auto purchasing and auto opening. Yeah, so by doing this, now they're going to spend all their extra keys, and they have a lot of them. Yeah, are they almost done with them? There, now they're done. Yeah, so in this case, it's like, okay, we've got 4 different chests. If you were to apply a key to all of them at once, then you'd want to keep as much uptime on having all of these chests here. Which also makes me think we should have an extra like 4 treasure stands. So instead of you just getting 4 total, you'd have 8 of them. And you'd be constantly ticking down the number of minutes remaining. Hey, Mars. I think there are a lot of ways this can go, and I think it all comes down to what are the design constraints I actually want on this. As mentioned, I can make this a management problem for you. Imagine if every key reduced this by 1 second. Then you'd be dragging keys over constantly. It wouldn't be fun, but it's like we'd create work for you. And if that's the goal, is to create some work for you, then we can find a balance between how often you need to go do something here. And I think the farm is a good example of very straightforward work. It's like you can click this. It's very easy. It's just a single click. Or you could let your workers do it. Or there are spells that can eventually do this stuff for you and harvest everything all at once. Or there's a perk that lets you harvest 5 at a time. So it's like there are many redundant ways of you handling this. But at the end of the day, there's still probably some amount of management so that you realize this is full and then you do something about it. And chests have a little bit of that. Like you have to realize that they're full so that you open them. Right now I have auto opening turned on, but you don't have auto opening in challenge mode. Still think we need to go back to what I want this to accomplish. I think the reward is fine. More power and health. But what do we want that to cost the player? And it's basically like time, money, or some amount of like manual actions or actions in the game. Having to click something or assign workers. And I think money is probably a bad one. I think upgrading things through perks feels better. Which means we probably do shift this a little bit toward actions in the game. Like, I don't want it to involve adventurers. The fishing pond is already a way to level up, but take the time of your adventurers. So it's like, okay, your rogue is now doing something, and they won't be fighting somewhere else. I don't think the treasure room needs to be the same way. This isn't a capitalist game. It literally is. Yes, I don't think involving your adventurers probably not a great idea because the fishing pond is so similar. What if it involved your workers though? What if you assigned a worker to a treasure chest and they lockpicked it? This is kind of what Codex was saying. So now instead of it going down by 1 second per second, it goes down by 5 seconds per second. And maybe you can assign more and more workers to it. This drastically changes the system though, and now keys aren't really needed. Like we already even coded it so that skeletons go and bring keys to chests, One of the problems with skeletons bringing keys to chests is that there's a best way to apply those keys right now. We could make it so that there's not a best way. That you're just like, yeah, whatever. Let it do whatever it should. Or that the skeletons figure out the best way. I still like the idea of automatically getting keys. And then maybe the thing you'd have to do is... I don't know what it would be. Like, I don't want your workers just automatically doing this stuff. I guess you could turn this machine on or off and just have it produce keys or not. And that there's no weapon component to it. Maybe it's like there's a faux potion spell that's just always on. So here it's dumping in a fake potion every once in a while. It could just be dumping in a fake weapon every once in a while. Or it's based on how many weapons you're selling. Like every so often you sell a weapon and it had a key in it. So it's not consuming the weapon for you. It's like you're selling it and then also getting a key. I hadn't thought of that. The way we could automatically get keys is by selling weapons. Each weapon you sell has an X% chance to leave a key behind based on its value. Or something. Yeah. Again, one of the problems is that the keys have meaningful enough effects that you want to target a specific chest with them. I think that's interesting enough. I wonder what this is going to do for the base game. Like my idea of having them affect every single chest at once is just so that you don't have to make that decision. And now you're never upset when a worker takes a green key over to here because you would have done the exact same thing that they would do. Whereas right now it's like, okay, I want to look at these and figure out which one has the lowest quantity. So that when I put in a quantity key, I'm going to raise that one. And now it's like, well, I want a red key to go in here because 2 times 2 is going to be better than 1 times 3. The other problem with this, though, is even if this was fun and even if everything was working, for you to figure out which chest to put things into means you need to hover over all of them. I guess it'd be nice to show you something in a UI below it. Or like when you hover over any of these, it shows you what all of their multipliers or all of their quantities are. Yeah, I think this needs a change. I think the manually moving keys is a problem. UI doesn't really support making these key decisions easily. We should show you the quantity and multiplier for everything when you hover over any of them. That way you can make a decision more easily. Makes me think that having to manually direct keys isn't that interesting. Then how would we... Yeah, I like the idea of you getting this like loot explosion out of these chests, but I don't think that's as good anymore. All right, let me go down this path that I was already kind of talking about. So yeah, what if we did this? You get keys automatically. Keys apply fractional multipliers. I don't know how you'd get more item types then. Maybe there is no concept of item types inside of this thing. It's just a quantity of items inside of it. So it says you're going to get 17 items, and when you click it, they're decided based on something. Maybe it's just a random set of your adventurers. Although at that point, it's leveling up all your adventurers in the same way. And for story mode, I think being able to put the power into some of them would be good. Like if I turn off auto purchasing here, it's gonna get all these chests and then they'll be empty. I can click this, and now I can pick which adventurer do I want. Oh, I definitely should have tested that before I. Yeah, this all looks fine, but I didn't test that myself, and I should have. Anyway, you can pick which adventurer you want this for. And I think that's nice in story mode. Maybe each chest only contains one adventurer's items. Maybe each chest only contains items for a single adventurer. And a perk will let you improve that. So keys apply fractional multipliers. But then is there a reason to have different keys? Maybe they just change the number of minutes. I like them modifying the loot inside though. Anyway, you get keys automatically. Keys apply fractional multipliers. Chest only contains items for single adventures. If not, the item type key would probably need to be fractional too. So 3 item type keys would double the number of items in a chest. I don't think I like that. Oh man, what else? I guess the weapon grinder ceases to exist. All right, where was I going with this? So you start getting keys. These, instead of saying they increase the quantity by 1, I guess they increase it by a fraction. So if I just look at a chest over here, it's currently at 1. It's going to give you 1 item. So let's say each thing gave you like 0.2 multiplier or quantity. So you start with 1 times 1. You get up to 1.2 times 1, it's doing nothing. You have to 1.2 times 1.2, it's doing nothing. You have to 1.4 times 1.2, and now it's finally going to give you 2 items. So it took 3 keys to get there. That's not that bad, assuming that you're not waiting that long for 3 keys. I think having a time-based system on its own is probably not interesting enough. If there should be some way for you to speed it up. Yeah. How do you speed up this system? It can't just be time-based since it's an incremental game. For story mode, we could just have perks that you're choosing what to get. So it's like you could just increase the multipliers or something on these things. Or you could say chests start with fewer minutes on them. And that's how you're speeding it up. Or you get keys more often. For challenge mode, you can't guarantee you'll get those. And I don't think we should allow you to just outright buy them. And this is where doing things based on item values was kind of interesting, at least. We could also change something else. Another idea is we could say something like the weapon grinder doesn't operate instantaneously. So you need to keep it filled. Which means putting weapons in every once in a while. It's not really interesting either, I guess. It's definitely an interesting problem. It's sort of how I felt with challenge mode overall. It's like we had a bunch of code written. We had all these things for random perks and everything else. And I was like, man, I don't know if this is working. I don't know if this is working. I think we found a way to make it work. And I think we can find a way to make this work too. I think putting keys into treasure chests is an interesting mechanic. And I think we should keep that. And like I said, we already have this coded. They already know how to go here. Did you publish this game? I've got the demo online, if that's what you mean. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking about. So how would we still get the key stuff to matter? I think choosing which chest shouldn't be very important. Hope you make good money with it. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, by the way, I don't think this is that unusual in terms of length to make a game. I forgot what the title is because I don't have it open right now, but it's something like whatever, day 235. That's the number of stream days that I spent on this, but it's not the number of calendar days. It's not the number of work days I've spent on it. And it's hard to estimate how many work days it's been. It's incredibly easy to tell you how many calendar days it's been because I started on April 17th of last year. So you could just figure out how many days it's been since then. But in terms of work days, like on a Saturday, I wouldn't typically stream, but I might work, and I didn't track all those. But yeah, I don't think this is that unusual for time put into a game. Also, if you think this is a lot, I mean, consider AAA games. They're usually more than this amount of time with like 50 times the number of people and a crazy amount more money put in. They're pretty similar to movies now, I feel, in terms of investment. Not maybe as crazy. Like if you look up whatever random, like if you look up Avengers, Marvel Avengers, I don't know what the movie is actually called. Also, how do we find the... I just want to find the budget for any one of these. Wasn't The Avengers the name of a movie? The Avengers, yeah. All right, this is 2012. I just picked a thing, but budget $220 million. Like that's a crazy amount of money, and the box office amount is an even crazier amount of money. But still, think of what it takes to be able to do a project like this. You can't get a loan for $200 million. Well, not as a normal person, you can't. I don't know, maybe ultra wealthy people can. So I think games are sort of steering toward that a little bit. And like, yeah, there are indie films, but how many indie films get to be as popular as like Hollywood films? I don't really have a major point with this other than that games are taking more and more money to make and more time to make. Getting keys automatically. Are you still buying treasure chests? So what if keys don't have differences? I think it's neat to get different keys. I like the idea of getting different keys. I like how they may make the player feel, but then they need different effects. The difference could just be in magnitude and not in direction. Right now we have plus multiplier, plus quantity, plus types. In the future, it could just be plus x plus 1.2x and plus 1.4x. So that they all do the same thing. It could work, but at that point, yeah, I guess that could work. So we'd basically be taking the keys that we have in this graphic, and we'd be saying one of these is like a weak key, one of them's like a medium key, and one of them's a strong key. And yeah, so when you see the red one, you're like, oh, cool, that's the best one. Like, I'm glad I got that one. But yeah, then the types wouldn't matter as much. I think there's one other tiny problem here, which is that you can't get too much loot in this mode because nothing stacks. Where did I write all the problems down? Getting too much loot is actually a potential problem since there's no stacking in bone mode. Yeah, it's this idea of them all just applying a different amount. I like the idea of skeleton keys still existing though, no matter what. Like it automatically opens a chest, it gives you a ton of items. I think that would be fun. Those could be rare. It's okay if you don't get one. All right, well, anyway, I've got at least somewhat of an answer for this. How do I answer this question? How do you speed up this system? Can't just be time-based since it's an incremental game. The way you speed up any other system in bone mode is via perks. Right? I don't think there's another answer for that. Well, let's consider all of them individually. The farm can be sped up by you manually clicking to harvest. The pond can be sped up by battling with more or stronger adventurers. And I mean, that's pretty much it in terms of systems that consume items. Manually clicking to harvest. I guess bringing the keys to the destination could be the way you speed this up, but that's not how you're not speeding up the production of keys. But yeah, that's where perks come in, I suppose. We already have an item dump in the game in the form of the garbage slime. But it gives you money. This would be an item dump that gives you treasure. I don't know if we need the item sink in here. I'm still torn on this thing. We could, if this automatically produced keys and you brought weapons to it to make it go faster, I guess it could work. It all depends on how sort of key starved you are. Would you ever want to do that? Do keys become the limiting factor here? Because the treasure system already has a big time component. And if keys are getting automatically produced too, maybe you can always just choose to buy a key. It's like 10 gold or something. Buy a key for a set amount of gold. 10G. What if the treasure spirit gives you keys? I mean, this is just a random question. You can buy keys, would they still be random? Yeah, I would assume so. But I'm still not even, I'm not really sold on anything just yet. Like, I don't know if any of these ideas are good. I'm just kind of brainstorming right now. So it's possible we keep the old keys that we had. It's possible that we switch to just literally there are two keys. There's like a normal key that does something. And then there's a skeleton key that does something much better. And yeah, maybe you're only getting normal keys or something. I see, throwing into the brainstorming, yeah. Yeah, and I think the problem with having keys that have different results is that you'd want to direct those results. And if skeletons are doing this stuff for you, then you're not really directing it, at which point you're probably getting frustrated that they're not doing the right things. Like imagine you had an infinite farm and you had crops worth 1 food or 10 food. The farm is infinite, so you'd be like, I just want the crops worth 10. So like just go harvest those. And every time you see a worker taking a carrot instead of a pumpkin, you'd be like, why? Like just go get the stuff worth more. The farm never ends. And I think that's kind of what happens here, at least right now. Like I said, imagine a scenario where you have a chest with like 4 times 1 items and you have another chest with 1 times 4 items. So in both cases, they're giving you 4 items total. But now you have a key that increases the first number. So which chest should you put it in? Well, if you put it in this one, you're only going to get 1 more item. But if you put it in this one, you're going to get 4 more items. So that's how the game works right now. And it's not fun to see a skeleton take a key from you because you can't direct them somewhere. And we could add in a way for you to direct them. But I wonder, should we just remove the need for you to direct them at all? Should all the keys just do kind of the same thing? And the only thing that's making me pause here is We never tested this for story mode. So in story mode, is it fun to direct where the keys are going? So I think my conclusion from all of this is we do need this to take some amount of your actions. Yeah. I think directing keys to specific chests is not a super fun mechanic. Maybe it can matter somewhat, but yeah, I don't want it to be too impactful. I'd rather have the treasure system take some amount of your attention slash actions or that of your workers. Yeah. So we have transportation of keys. We could add transportation of chests, and we could add some other arbitrary behavior that takes their time. Could be something like lock picking, grinding keys. Maybe you do just assign workers. Maybe just assign workers to the key machine. You can assign up to 3, and they just change the rate of how quickly you produce keys. I don't think this is good. Yeah, I don't think this is good. At some point in bone mode, workers will be very common. So dedicating some to this task is probably not super interesting. Nor would you probably take them off of the task if it's the new cool thing you got. So transportation, I mean, this is pretty much what workers are doing in every other part of the game, right? And every other system. Oh, I also forgot one other thing. We have transportation of loot as well. From storage to treasure room. From chest to guild. From somewhere to treasure room. Yeah. So just transportation of this stuff. So we spit out a key every once in a while, and now a worker needs to go do it. And if these accumulate, you could bring them over there. Right now, we don't have any quick move menu stuff for. Let me get this. We don't have a quick move menu for the keys. You can put them in the warehouse. You can put them in the garbage time. Not that you should ever do that. But yeah, there's no way to bring it to a treasure chest because you don't know which chest you would want it to be in. But we could change this to say something like chest with the lowest time remaining. I should put a star here. I also think this should have a star. We could have a quick move menu destination that says like chest with the lowest time remaining, just so that you can still quickly move keys yourself. Hmm. Uh, yeah. I think I think there's some nugget of a good idea in here. I think the longer I talk about this, the closer I'll probably get to something crystallizing in my head. I still like the idea of getting keys automatically. It's it's kind of like the farm and that it's producing work for you or for your workers, but it just doesn't take an input. I do want it to take an input. I guess that's another thing. We could, okay, I didn't think about this. We could just drastically lower the cost of keys to get it to be more like the farm. It would share quite a lot in common with the farm at that point. However, I guess, yeah, the farm has a growing time, which prevents you from acting in between adding a potion and getting the sludge, getting the value from that potion, from the crop. The key grinder doesn't, which is why we needed the cost to be high. Otherwise, you would open chest after chest. If we give it a grinding time, though, could be fine. And it could be that you have like one weapon grinder per key storage slot. No, I don't really see a reason to do that, do I? I guess it depends on how the time is taken here. Hey, for the farm, it makes sense that when a seed is planted, it now has a growth time because it's how it works in real life. It's not like the plant just shoots up immediately. And sure, we cut out watering and tending it and weeding and whatever else. It's a very simplified version of that. But we don't have an equivalent over here. You put in a weapon, and if there was enough value in it, it'll just spit out a key. And I guess the equivalent might be like it has enough molten metal to fill a mold, but there's a molding time. New farmers are just slacking 95% of the day. Yeah, they just put a seed in the ground, and all of a sudden they got a pumpkin or a sunflower or whatever it is. Then they go sell that thing. Just teleports to the grocery store. Could be I guess it'd be a grinding time or something. You could have a key grinder for each storage slot. Each grinder takes, X seconds to make a key. But the input cost is very cheap. Maybe even that of a seed. So this would allow us to reuse a lot of the code stuff that we have. There'd be some like key grinding farm almost. You dedicate some area. You've got like, you have, I don't know, 8 key grinders and 8 key storage slots or something. You bring some weapons in and start getting keys. Keys all lower the time by 1 minute and increase the quantity within by like 1 point. Wait, it's not even a multiplier anymore, right? By like 0.5 items. Chests started. Yeah, 6 minutes or something. I guess, what's the point of chests even counting down? Yeah, I don't know if there is a point. If there isn't going to be a shortage of keys. It was originally so that it was originally so that you would get some loot even if you couldn't afford keys. Yeah, so if we don't have a countdown, then we need something different to know that a chest is ready to be opened. It could be that keys only have a chance at succeeding, and maybe that chance goes up over time as a mercy system. It could be that chests require X keys. Oh, maybe they require specific keys, like red key plus green key. And then it opens. It's kind of interesting. It means that you could get keys that you don't have a need for, though. It's would mean that you could get keys that you don't have a use for. If all chests require a green key and you keep getting blue keys, it doesn't really help you. Hey, Typical. How you feeling? Remember you said you had dengue fever, right? Well, I don't remember exactly when that was. Or if you'd recovered already. This is kind of interesting. Requiring specific keys. What else could we do for this? So chance of succeeding, requiring specific keys, X keys, specific keys. Anything else? No, that's about it, I think. You could buff chests to crazy amounts. Maybe it's chest always open after 3 keys or something. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking with this. Could be the chest require X keys. Or maybe what you're saying is you could still put keys in after it's been opened. I just came to know people charge $15,000 for 2-week coding boot camp. For 2 weeks, I think is kind of crazy. I've heard of people charging high values for boot camps, but usually the boot camps last for months. So, I mean, it's kind of just like schooling at that point. But in 2 weeks, even if you worked every single hour, which you can't, but let's say it's, I don't know, like 1.5 full time. So it's 120 hours. It's like you're still paying a lot of money per hour. Just need 10 to 15 more days of recovery. Man, that's nuts. Change key from green to red or vice versa. If you could change the keys, that could potentially overcome this problem where you have keys you can't use. Although I'm not sure it's fun to do. I like the idea of chests requiring specific keys because now you might have keys that you can't use, so you want to get another chest to accommodate that key. But also now the keys are just sort of arbitrary. There's just different colors for the sake of this. And if this isn't fun, then it's not interesting. At that point, keys would just the key colors are basically arbitrary. So if this system isn't fun, we should distill it to something that makes more sense. If you need specific keys, assuming you could keep putting in other keys, then it could get crazy. But if you were saying you can only use those, then I guess my thought doesn't apply. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I was thinking it would just be that you have a slot for like red, green, and then you fill the slots. So it's like, okay, I got a red one and a green one. Now all this would accept is another red one, and then it would open. That's at least what I was thinking. It doesn't have to be that way. But I'm not certain that that's even fun. So chests require certain stuff, but you're not in charge of getting certain keys. Yeah, I don't think that would be interesting. Also, if you can't control what's getting produced and can't change the keys you get out, then it would just feel like pure luck, which I guess is the X% chance to open a chest. Okay, so another function idea, which I don't think I like this, would be keys that add to the loot and keys that affect the opening time. No, I don't like this for a couple of reasons. I think anything that you can do that can increase the amount of loot in a chest, unless there's a maximum, there could be a maximum amount of loot allowed in any chest. Maybe 20 items, let's say. So like you could just keep adding stuff to it and then you figure out when you want to open it. In fact, actually, that's how maybe all of this could have worked. Maybe this could have worked such that all chests, hang on, let me think about this, can be opened whenever you want. And you figure out how many keys you want to put in. This is kind of like what Xyletics is talking about, I think. You can just keep adding keys. already. Too cold. I think it's almost time to start turning on the heat. Been warm enough outside for long enough. What is the weather right now? 62? That's actually not bad. And the highs in this, well, 70, I guess. Figure how many keys you want to put in. If the point is to get you to take up some time, though, like I wonder if rejecting keys. I don't think it's interesting to have to do this. Like we only need blue keys, and we got these teal ones and the red ones. So we're what, dumping these in the garbage slime or something? And now we got the key with blue in it, I guess. So it's like, oh, cool, that's the one I needed. But I don't think I like that. I think this is going to be very similar to the farm. The farm already has this concept of some crops being worth more than others. So it's like when you do see a pumpkin on your farm, like, oh, nice, that's worth 10. And when you see a carrot, you're like, oh, that's too bad. That's only worth 2. If we have the exact same thing with keys where it's like, hey, you're dumping stuff in, you're getting something out of it. It's almost like it's a key farm. In fact, okay, so now there's a zany idea. What if it was just a key farm? Like, it looks pretty much just like this does. And you're planting plants, but they grow into keys. And then the keys get plucked by your workers. What if it is a key farm? You're planting keys on the farm and growing them into keys that workers can take. What? Hey, Codex. I had this idea from a long time ago, which is that when we were designing the farm, I didn't know what this would do. I didn't know it would level up your workers. So I was actually thinking, wouldn't it be funny if you click a crop like a pumpkin and it bursts open into a sword that you then go sell? So you're basically just growing weapons and armor on your farm. And yeah, we could have a key farm. Why not? Yeah, you still dump weapons in. It still plants seeds that are keys. You can increase the size of it. In essence, that's kind of sort of like what this is in function. You are putting weapons in here. It is giving you keys out. You are limited by how rapidly you can move keys out of here, though. There's no growing time. I like the idea of a growing time. I also like the idea of this getting zanier and zanier. There would be a decent amount of coding changes to make for that to work. Like we'd have to repurpose the farm to grow other things. But I think it wouldn't be too bad. I don't actually know. What other graphics do we have out of curiosity for the farm? Farming Alice. I'll just open it like this. Oh, we have this bag here. There's no way to indicate that something has it grow in vases. They started a cracked one and then get to a vase. I think just having different graphics for the different levels of keys or something would probably work. What if you grow treasure chests on the farm? And the keys are the fertilizer. I'm going kind of zany with this now. I still think we should think of what functionally this should be, because this is more of a presentation than it is a function. Maybe instead of a traditional farm, it's more like it pulls keys out of the spirit realm or something after time. Like the treasure spirit's just spitting some keys out. And you could also make it so the treasure spirit is taking in keys. Like you bring a key to the treasure spirit and then it does something. It is a treasure chest after all. I mean, this is pretty close to your warehouse. They could bring weapons up here and just dump it into the treasure spirit. Could also bring armors and do that. I'm gonna put a star on this for now, but yeah, I'm still not sure. Okay, so what about this idea? I didn't really talk about this too much. What if a key only had a chance at succeeding? So it's all about putting in a bunch of keys. And then I guess whatever loot was inside is just what loot is inside that. Let's go back to keys having a chance at succeeding. I guess chests would start with X loot inside. And then you keep putting in keys until you find the one that works. There are no countdown timers. So what does this turn into? I guess the disappointing thing here, yeah, I don't think I like this. Since most actions taken in this system would have 0 effect. It's better to have a countdown timer, or it's better to have a set number of keys so that you can see the progress. Yeah. Hey, Taco Bandit. Yeah, which, I mean, that's kind of already how it's working, right? There's a treasure chest, you put a key in, you immediately see this amount of time go down. This is really just a progress bar. And it's a little weird how we did this. We could have just had a bar that fills up. Well, I guess knowing how much longer until it's done filling up is pretty important. What else? Just trying to think in terms of actions again, like, I guess I just keep thinking about the farm. I think that's why this appealed to me. I think the reason the key farm appealed to me is that the farm is already working pretty well. And we could reuse a lot of the code to get the weapon grinder to take time to produce keys. Then you would have manual actions and still have treasure chests you could open. However, this is mostly a presentation gimmick. And we would still need to know, well, I guess, yeah, how chests work. Yeah, I guess it's just each key lowers the time by a different amount. What if they just don't even augment loot? What if keys lower chest time by a certain amount, but they don't augment the loot inside? The only reason we have the timer, well, not the only reason, but one of the reasons we had the timer now is to limit how much loot could be in a chest. But we could just artificially limit it. But I still wonder if adding to the loot that's inside is actually a good idea. Or do chests just start with whatever loot is inside of them? Even seeing the loot, though, ahead of time doesn't really help you that much, right? Being able to see the loot inside of a chest is only really meaningful if you can impact that loot. Otherwise, it's fine for it to be a surprise. There is some minor functional difference. If you didn't know it was inside and you had, like, let's say 4 of these things, you might prioritize a certain one based on what's inside. But if you don't know it, you don't know which one to prioritize. So you're always just going to try to get one of these to the lowest possible number. I guess I'll write another idea. You give keys to the treasure spirit, and it decides how to open chests. Some keys could affect multiple chests at once. Is the idea of bumping up loot even good? I guess from a lore perspective, it doesn't make sense. Why is a key changing the loot that's inside? And it'd be much simpler to just show you sort of like how this shows you. Where like, hey, there's, well, there wouldn't be two numbers here, but it'd say there are 13 helms and there are 14 bows inside. This could just say, yeah, there are 3 witch doctor totems, and can I get another item in here? Give me the key that gets another item in there. We can't turn off auto purchasing anyway. There it is. Okay, cool. So yeah, if I do this and then I click this. So this is showing me that we have 1 mage fire rod and 1 archer quiver in there. Is augmenting the loot interesting? I think it's cool to get different stuff. But does it have to be done with the keys? Doesn't even make sense from a diegetic perspective. Hey, Apple. Thanks for this great game. I found it when Kit mentioned on his stream some months ago. Can't wait for the final version. Well, thank you for trying it out. Also, if you want to be a playtester, I have some very brief instructions there. It's basically just join the Skeleseller Discord and DM me if you want. But I am looking for some more eyes on the game, especially as I make more of these changes. Like what you presumably played was the demo, which got you to the enchanter and the garbage slime and the farm and everything else. But we've added the treasure room and we've added a whole other game mode into the game. And yeah, I definitely need to make sure we're going in the right direction. And I think we generally are. Maxed out everything. Oh, cool. Yeah, then you might like this new idea that's in the game, bone mode. So this runs you through some scenarios that start you with generally being overpowered. So we start with a farm and it's maxed out, but any choices you make are randomized. So when I want to build, let's say the warehouse, I click build and I actually was offered the warehouse, but I might not have been. And when I want to hire an adventurer, I might not get the one that I want. Oh, that's broken. Rat. Okay, we got to fix that. I'll write that down. I'll just write it over here. Need to fix this for bone mode. I didn't publish a new playtest version though, so I'll just write this here. Life bars are showing when hiring. They aren't in story mode for that. Yeah, it's roguelike, yeah. Yeah, they're not showing there. Roguelite to be more specific, because there are upgrades you can get before a run even starts, and you can unlock other perks that show up during a run. And they all make the game even easier. You sort of start breaking things pretty quickly. I think it's pretty fun. So I think it's neat to see the amount of loot in a treasure chest go up. Yeah, like I think getting this and seeing that there's 1 item in there, and then as keys are brought to it, it's like, oh, now there are 6 of each item, and I have 2 items. So I got 12 items out of that. It's like, yeah, that is cool. I like that. But is it needed? Would just lowering the amount of time be fine? Alternatively, you know what else we could do? We could make it so that keys which augment loot augment it by the same amount regardless of which chest it's put in. So that there is some minor impact. Like each chest starts with 1 adventurer's item type in it. And the keys would be something like -3 minutes, +1 item, and -2 minutes. I don't know. Open immediately and add a bunch of items. I'm not sure. So I think it's fun to see the loot go up, but it doesn't make sense that a key would be doing this. Always +1 item inside. We need a way for you to get more of these items, though, as time goes on. We do need some way for you to get more items, since adventurers start taking more items. Also, you would, yeah, that's pretty much it. Man. Yeah. I still like the idea of a key farm. You're just growing keys on it. It takes in weapons. You grind them into metal. You grow keys. The keys get brought to your treasure chest. They probably pretty much work the same way at that point. We'd have to change something about it so that you're not bothered when a worker's taking something from you here. There, yeah. I'm just thinking about this stuff. I haven't come to any major conclusions yet. I'm still gonna need to think about this in the afternoon. I should probably take a break, a lunch break. But I think the morning went well, given what it was. We're done miscellaneous stuff for phone mode, published 8 demo, and started redesigning the treasure system a bit. Okay, well, it's about noon for me right now. I'm gonna go take a lunch break. I'll be back in about an hour, I think. And I think we're gonna do more design work for this treasure system. I'm hoping that taking a little bit of time off for my lunch break will get these ideas percolating. And maybe I have some epiphany before we come back. Otherwise, maybe we need to test some of this stuff. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think that's it for this morning's stream. So thank you all for watching. I will hopefully see you again in the afternoon. And if not, take care. Oh yeah, thank you, April. All right, bye everyone.